Hello friends, we are Soul Fiction. Welcome to our channel. In today's video, we'll explore an exciting video on what if Naruto was the descendant of Medusa, the heir of Gorgon. If you enjoy these kinds of stories, don't forget to show us some love by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your support means the world to us. Now, let's dive into the story. A red-haired teen lets out a groan from underneath the covers of his king-size bed. The redhead teen raises his head. He opens his cerulean blue eyes. The redhead has 6 whiskered-like birthmarks, giving the redhead the appearance of a yawning fox. The teenager appears to be around the age of 17 or 18. As he rises from his bed, there's a Japanese tattoo of a black samurai mediating on a Chinese dragon, while on his wrist he has a tattoo of koi fish. The teen has a 6-pack. This teenager is Naruto Uzumaki, a third year at Kuo Academy. While at school you had 3 perverts, heavenly goddesses, Night, and the mascot. You have Naruto Uzumaki, who can be considered most sought-out guy in the school due to how handsome and how some view him as the bad boy delinquent, but this is due to male population jealously of the young redhead. But Naruto could care less about his popularity with the people from his school. Hell, the redhead child found school increasing boring. You couldn't really blame him since he was so smart and he was focused on becoming a physiologist. Naruto, get up, breakfast is ready, yelled a woman. Naruto run his hand through his red locks. Okay, Ka-chan, yelled Naruto. He then quickly got dressed, dressing in the academy clothes, except he ditched the blazer, only wearing the white dress shirt, orange tie, black slacks, and some Vans. Naruto comes downstairs and smiles at his mother, Kushina Uzumaki. Kushina has fair skin, long red hair reaching her back, and has purple eyes. She smiles at her son. Morning, Naruto, ready for breakfast?" asked Kushina with a cheerful expression. Naruto matches her smile with his own grin. "You betcha I am," said Naruto with his own smirk. After eating his breakfast, he grabs his backpack. "See ya, Ka-chan," said Naruto. He grabs his motorcycle helmet that looks like a shark. He grabs his leather gloves and black leather jacket that has the red ribbon symbol on the back of the jacket. Naruto walks on towards his Honda Niaoing motorcycle. It doesn't take long for Naruto to arrive at school thanks to his bike. As Naruto gets off, the redhead releases a groan that gave off how annoyed he is. The reason for Naruto's annoyance is the girlish screams of 3 perverts after being beaten savagely. Naruto shook his head at the 3 beaten boys. "Idiots, I swear, how the fuck are they not in prison?" thought Naruto as he glares at the perverts with so much hate. Naruto has always had a great hatred for perverts. I guess you can say it started when his godfather had Tsunade, who was married to her husband Dan, and after Dan had found Jiraiya rapping his wife, the man had killed Jiraiya by savagely stabbing Jiraiya with a kitchen knife. Luckily, because Dan is a politician, he was able to not go to jail. Naruto then stares at the down perverts. "You 3 are fucking stupid," said Naruto as he walks around the beaten perverts, not even caring. The redhead then hears a cough. Naruto turns around and sees Sona, who is a young bespectacled woman in her late teens with a slim figure, black hair styled in a short bob cut, and violet eyes. Her body measurements are B77 W57 H 83 centimeters. Sona's height is 166 centimeters, 5 feet 5 inches, making her a character of average height. She mostly dressed in a Kuo Academy girls' school uniform. "Aren't you going to help them?" asked Sona, staring at Naruto, who's walking away. Naruto turned his head with an eyebrow raised. "Why?" asked Naruto. "Because they're your underclassmen. Shouldn't you actually want to show them how a student should act?" asked Sona, staring at the redhead. "No, besides I'm busy, Sona-senpai, I have class. Besides, shouldn't you worry about them perving on girls than me, who actually knows how to behave?" said Naruto as he stares at her violet eyes. Sona stares at Naruto with her eyes narrowing. "Fine, but please at least try to be a role model," said Sona as she leaves. "So, Issei isn't the only one with a sacred gear. He has one that's maybe stronger than Issei's own sacred gear," said Sona. Naruto runs his hand through his hair with his eyes closed. He suddenly feels as if he ran into someone. Help, opens his eyes and sees Sarah, who's in his class. Sarah has long red hair, with spiky bangs on her forehead, violet eyes, and fair skin, and wears the Kuo Academy female uniform. Sarah gives Naruto a slight blow with a pink blush across her cheeks. "I'm sorry, Naruto-kun. I wasn't looking where I was going," apologized Sarah. Naruto just waved her off. "Don't worry about it's my fault," said Naruto. "Now I must hurry or I'm going to be late." said Naruto as he walks away while unknown to the two Rias Gremory and Akano Hamejima are watching Naruto walk off to his class. As school had started, Naruto just wanted it to end. The redhead finds himself just staring at the wall like it's the most important thing. I can't wait for school to end, thought Naruto with a bored expression. Unfortunately today, been one of those long days. Hours later, Naruto rushed or walked fast and hopped on his bike. The redhead always loved riding his motorcycle. To him it felt like he was free. While most students don't have their license or a car, Naruto had got his license at the age of 16. His cousin Nagato had bought him the bike for a present when he passed the test. Naruto quickly grabbed his helmet and hooped on his bike. He then begins to drive out of the school parking lot. Naruto looks at his watch. Okay, I still got time. Good, thought Naruto. He just let out an annoying sigh. I just wish my teacher didn't kept talking when class was over. Seriously though, he must have talked at least for 20 minutes. Thought Naruto. He then stops when he sees a female student trip and fall. He gets off his bike and notices the girl is Kaneko. He rushes over to the fallen Kaneko. Miss Taju, are you okay? Asked Naruto with concern. Kaneko looks at Naruto, then looks at her fallen box of chocolates. My treats, said Kaneko as a stoic tone void of emotions. Naruto couldn't help but sigh. Man, this girl must have been through a lot, thought Naruto. Taju, are you okay? Repeated Kaneko. She then nods her head. Kaneko grabs onto his hand and the whitenet is shocked at how smooth his hands were. Cocoa butter, thought Kaneko. Yes, I'm fine. What's your name? Asked Kaneko. Naruto lets go of her hand and grins at Kaneko. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I'm a third year, said Naruto. My name is Kaneko Taju. I'm a second year. Uzumaki senpai, said Kaneko in her usual stoic tone. Naruto grins at Kaneko. I would like to talk to you more, but I'm busy. But if you want to talk to me about your personal problems, I'm here for you, said Naruto as he puts on his helmet. Kaneko's yellow eyes gazes into Naruto's helmet. I do not have any personal problems, said Kaneko. Naruto then starts his bike and drives off. Then why wear that mask? Yelled Naruto as he drives off, leaving Kaneko shocked that he was able to read her so easily. He read me, said Kaneko as she watches Naruto drives off. Cool bike, said Kaneko. She then heads back to the occult research club. Naruto smiles as he drives through the streets. That Kaneko sure has a strong grip, but that girl needs some help. Hopefully I can help her with whatever her problem is, but it all depends if she wants my help, said Naruto. The redhead continues to ride a motorcycle until he reaches the area where all the homeless people live, but this area is where people usually commit some type of suicide. Naruto had been going to this location for 2 years straight, help people try to cope with their problems and get them curtain medicine they need for dispersion and extreme stress-wise choices which would lead to suicide. People around this area see Naruto as a hero since he has helped so many of them and saved so many of them. Naruto has also been studying to be a physiologist. He's been studying to be one for 3 years. As Naruto pulls up, he takes off his helmet, allowing his red locks to flow freely. As he walks to his usual route, he sees a brunette woman who looks like a wreck. Naruto smiles at the woman, who's a nervous wreck. Hello, Suzumaki. White Beetle. I see you haven't been cutting yourself, said Naruto as he barely glances at the scars that are on her arms and hands. Suzumaki nods her head. Yes, I have. Those depression pills that you gave me really worked, said Suzumaki. I'm happy to hear that. If I may, why are you so depressed? Asked Naruto in a curious tone and hoping to help the woman with whatever problems she's dealing with. Suzumaki nods her head. That seems fair. After all you did me, and if it wasn't for you I'll probably be somewhere dead. I great the way to tell you why I'm so depressed. I suppose it has to start with my alcoholic father and my mom who was an enabler. I guess you can say my mother was jealous of me, said Suzumaki in a sad time as she rubs her arm. Naruto shoots her a raised eyebrow and narrows his eyes in suspension. Jealous of you? Why was your mom jealous of you? Asked Naruto, looking at the 39-year-old woman. Suzumaki lets out a sigh because she thought I was more prettier than her and was trying to steal her husband, who was also my dad, but I think she was mentally ill. That's probably one of the reasons why she let my dad beat me and sexual harass me. If that wasn't bad he would me, and when my mom found out she would drop me off at a brothel and let all those men have their way with me. Let's not forget I was 11. This had continued until I ran away from at the age of 16. At that age I was in an abusive relationship. I became a heroin and cocaine addict. I also lost my unborn child when my boyfriend kicked me downstairs. I was in a coma that lasted 22 hours. The fall had killed my unborn child. The police had found out the real story and my boyfriend was sent to jail for 68 years in prison without bail. said Suzumaki. Suzumaki looks down sadly. Naruto couldn't help but feel sad for her, but he didn't show pity. I'm truly sorry you experienced this. No one should have to deal with that, said Naruto in a professional tone. Thank you, Naruto. I'm glad I can tell someone what I experienced. You truly are a saint, said Suzumaki as she bows to him in respect. Naruto waves her off. It's no problem, I'm happy to help, said Naruto with a smile. He then watches as she leaves. Naruto continue helping multiple people. Just as he was about to, he saw a child who appears 11 years old child holding a knife. Naruto grabs onto the child's hand. Wow, what's going on? Asked Naruto looking at the child. The child scoffs at Naruto. Why do you care? Snarled the child. I care because I'm about to watch a child do something he might regret, said Naruto as he stares into the child's eye. As he stares into the child's eyes, he could see loneliness and a look of him giving up on life. The child growls in annoyance. Why the hell should I believe you? Yelled the child with rage in his eyes. The redhead lets out a soft sigh. If I didn't care, then why would I be here and stopping you from trying to kill yourself? Said Naruto in determination. The child drops the knife and his glare vanishes. He then gains a small frown. Do you mean it? Do you really care? Asked the boy who has black-red hair. Of course I do. Now what's your name, little one? Asked Naruto with concern. The child nods his head high. My name is Akaikawa, Red River, said Akaikawa. Naruto smiles down at Akaikawa. Seeing that the child has come down, he lets go of Akaikawa's arm. Hello, Akaikawa minds Naruto Uzumaki. So what are you doing here? Asked Naruto. Akaikawa looks down in what looks like to be shame. I ran away from home. My parents don't care about me, yelled Akaikawa with fresh tears coming down from his face. Naruto looks at Akaikawa in sadness. The redhead doesn't know how, but the young Uzumaki has always been able to feel the emotional level of a person. Not just that he was able to analyze and scan a person, it was like his brain can read a person on a physical and emotional level. He wasn't just able to scan and analyze people but also objects. It was like he could find the weakness in anything. Naruto then shook his head from the strange gift he has. It isn't the time to zone out. I must be focused on the task at hand, thought Naruto in a professional tone. Akaikawa, why did you think that? That can't be truth, said Naruto as he tries to reason with the child. But they don't ever time they get home. We never do anything like a family, yelled Akaikawa in a depressed tone. Can I ask you something? Asked Naruto. Akaikawa slowly nods his head. How old are you? 11, 12? Asked Naruto. Akaikawa raises an eyebrow, confused why Naruto wants to know his age. I'm 11, said Akaikawa. Naruto mentally hums to himself. So Akaikawa feels like his parents are neglecting him, when in reality they both have a full-time job, and whatever their job is, they come home late and exhausted. He most likely feels neglected for his parents not spending time with him even though they were too tired. It's simply a mindset of a child, parents gone all day and not spending time with the child, and said kid feeling neglected by his hard-working parents, thought Naruto. Naruto stares into the child's blue-gray eyes. Akaikawa, are you sure your parents don't care about you and it's not a simple misunderstanding? Asked Naruto. Akaikawa then looks at Naruto with disbelief. I don't know. What if they don't want me? Asked Akaikawa in a sad tone. Naruto nods his head. I'm sure that isn't true. Have your parents ever said they don't like you, or have they ever said they don't want you? Asked Naruto. Akaikawa shook his head negatively. No, they haven't, said Akaikawa. Then they care about you, and I'm sure they're worried sick about you, said Naruto. Akaikawa nods his head in agreement. Akaikawa smiles widely at Naruto. The redhead teen notices the smile the child has is fitting of a child. You're right, Naruto, thanks a lot. I best get home, exclaimed Akaikawa. Naruto ruffles Akaikawa's black-red. Yeah, but I'm taking you home. This isn't really a place for a child to be around, said Naruto. He then grabs onto the boy's hand, leading him to his Honda Niaoing motorcycle. Akaikawa looks in awe at the motorcycle. That is the coolest motorcycle I've ever seen, exclaimed Akaikawa. Naruto couldn't help himself but to smirk at Akaikawa. Why thank you now, hoop on, it's getting late, said Naruto as he watches the sunset. Time skip. After Akaikawa had told Naruto how to get home, the boy's parents were worried sick. They had thought someone had kidnapped their son, but luckily that wasn't the case. After that, Naruto had been the one telling Akaikawa's parents about the huge misunderstanding. To say his parents were shocked were an understatement. After some crying and hugging, the family had thanked Naruto. But Naruto, being the person he is, just waved them off. who's simply happy he was able to reunite a family before something drastic could even happen. Naruto then explained why he was at that part of the town, and the parents were shocked that unlike most teenagers who would spend their time hanging out with each other or do drugs and other activities, but not the redhead hero. Know what he does in his free time is to help people. They honestly never thought they'll meet someone so young who actually enjoys making people happy and safe. The two adults felt like they weren't even talking to a teenager. To the adults it felt like they were actually talking to another adult. Naruto looks at the clock. It's getting late and I believe I overstayed my welcoming, said Naruto as her gets up from the couch. The nonsense, Naruto-kun. You are welcome here anytime, said the woman with a bright smile. Her husband bows to Naruto. You truly are a saint, said the man. Thank you, the both of you are too kind. I'm just doing what any person would do, but I must be going, said Naruto. The two parents walk Naruto the door. The woman smiles at Naruto. See you around, Naruto, and God bless you, said the woman. Naruto bows to them in respect. Her exits the house and hooping on his bike. God. I never really been the type of person who believes in something that can't be explained, but supposed some people need something to believe in. Eye on the hand is a different story, said Naruto as he drives home. But the redhead couldn't help but feel proud that he helped a family. While driving home, Naruto finds himself home. After parking his bike, he is greeted with his mother in the living room with a stern look on her face, glaring at Naruto with her purple eyes. Do you have any idea how late it is? You were out with a girl, weren't you? I thought I told you, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, you can't date until you graduated from high school and college. I will not let some tramp ruin my boy's future, yelled Kushina with her hair moving around, making her hair look like fire. Ka-chan, I wasn't with any girl, I was at the library study, said Naruto. Kushina gets up from her seat and brings Naruto in a crushing hug. Naruto let out a groan. All right, Naruto-kun, I believe you. I'm sorry, I just don't want your future to be ruined by one of those hussies, said Kushina. Naruto smiles at Kushina. Yay, I know, Ka-chan, you were just looking out for me, says Naruto. Kushina pulls away from Naruto and smiles at her son. I know you must be tired, how about you head to bed, said Kushina. Naruto nods his head and releases a loud yawn. Okay, Ka-chan, night, said Naruto as he walks to his room. Naruto gets out of his clothes, only appearing in his boxers. The redhead lays his head down. The male Uzumaki quickly falls to sleep. Next morning, Naruto goes through his usual morning ritual. I'm out, said Naruto, walking to his bike with his backpack on. Okay, said Kushina as she gets ready for work. She then looks at a photo of her and a younger Naruto. Minato, our son is always on the move, said Kushina as she wonders if her husband would be proud of how she raised her son. While Kushina was thinking about her dead husband, Naruto was thinking about a certain white-eyed girl, not because he has feelings for her. On contrary, on the way to school, Naruto had bumped into Kaneko, who bought some snacks. Naruto couldn't help but sweat drop as Kaneko stares at her crushed and ruined candy. Hey, Taju-san, are you okay? Asked Naruto with a raised eyebrow, but thanks to his helmet the petite girl was unable to see Naruto's expression. Kaneko instead stared at Naruto's helmet. Kaneko then looks back at her candy. My candy. They are ruined, said Kaneko in a stoic tone. Naruto couldn't help himself but to sigh. You must really love sweets? Asked Naruto. Kaneko nods her head. Naruto then hums to himself. How about this, I take you to a candy shop? I mean, if we go now there's still enough time, said Naruto. Kaneko looks at Naruto with her bright yellow eyes. Why would you do that, Naruto-senpai? We don't know each other? Questioned Kaneko. Naruto just shrugged his shoulders. I don't know. I guess you would look a lot happier, and I enjoy making people happy. And if that's what would make you happy, then so be it. Plus, I know of this new candy store that you'll probably like, said Naruto. Kaneko stares at Naruto. You are nice, Naruto-senpai. Take me to the store, said Kaneko in a tone that said she was grateful for Naruto trying to buy her more sweets. Naruto nods his head. He digs in his black and orange backpack and pulls out a motorcycle helmet that looks like a pre-World War II commercial leather aviator's cap and goggles. Kaneko puts on the helmet. She then wraps her arms around Naruto's waist. She then unconsciously snuggles against him. Kaneko lets out a peaceful sigh. He feels warm. I think I can get used to this, thought Kaneko. She doesn't really know why she feels at peace right now, but the young devil could care less. But unfortunately for her, they came to a stop at a place called Ruru's Sweets. Kaneko looks up at Naruto. Is this the place? Asked Kaneko. Naruto nods his head. Both get off of the bike. The two takes off each of their motorcycle helmets as they walk in. A woman in her early 30s smiles at the woman has long hair that is put in a bun. The color of her hair is a mixture of bright pink and blue purple. The woman has gray purple colored eyes. She has tan skin and she's wearing a blue one-piece jumpsuit sundress. This woman is Hoseki Kesho, Gemstone, Crystal. A person that Naruto saved who was abusing Xanax. She smiles brightly at both Naruto and Kaneko. Hello Naruto-kun. Is this pretty lady your girlfriend? Asked Hoseki, causing both of the teens to blush. Naruto shook his head negatively. No, we aren't dating. I'm just treating her. Do you have any specials today? Asked Naruto. Naruto-senpai, I want that one, said Kaneko, pointing at a basket that's filled with various types of sweets. Hoseki lets out a joyous scream. I see she has a good eye and she's incredibly sweet. But for her to call you senpai is just the sweetest thing ever. But the way, what's your name? Asked Hoseki as she grabs the basket. Naruto pays her the necessary amount of money. Kaneko stares at the older woman with her usual stoic tone. My name is Kaneko Teju. I will be returning here again with Naruto-senpai, said Kaneko with a pink blush. She then turns towards her upperclassman. Come on, said Kaneko, grabbing onto Naruto's hand, leading the redhead towards the bike. Have a nice day, you two. And Kaneko, take care of Naruto-kun, he's a keeper, yelled Hoseki as the two get on the bike. They have a crimson. She seems nice, said Kaneko. Naruto nods his yeah she is, but she's a real sucker for love. If you think she was enthusiastic, just wait for Valentine's Day, joked Naruto. With Kaneko behind Naruto, he misses. Kaneko smiled. The two then rode into school. Everyone was surprised beyond belief. Kaneko, the school mascot, and Naruto, the school's heartthrob, riding to school. But out of everyone, Rias and Akeno were the ones truly shocked due to Kaneko being so distant. At times the two devils couldn't help but wonder what Naruto did to hard it up to the somewhat cold Neko devil. But you could also hear the cries from the perverted trio as they watch Kaneko, who each find incredibly hot, is not only riding on someone's motorcycle but she's riding with Naruto, someone who all males are jealous of. Damn you Uzumaki, yelled a male student, crying at the fact that Naruto is with Kuo's cutest girl. Oh my god, was that Kaneko-chan with Naruto-sama, yelled a female student. I wonder why are those two hanging out this morning, pondered Sona. Rias turns to her best friend Akeno. Akeno, was that Kaneko-chan with Naruto Uzumaki? Asked Rias with dumbfounded expression. Akeno rubs her eyes in disbelief as she saw the rook of their peerage driving to school with Naruto, who never really interacts with anyone. I believe it was Rias Bucko, but I still can't believe it, said Akeno in shock. Rias narrows her green-colored eyes. I wonder why are those two hanging around, said Rias in curiosity. Akeno couldn't help but to wonder the same thing. While both Rias and Akeno wonder why Kaneko and Naruto went to school together, Naruto and Kaneko parked in the student parking and took off each of their helmets. Kaneko gives Naruto back to him. This morning was fun, said Kaneko with a smile. Naruto smiles at Kaneko. Yeah, it was, I had, said Naruto with a grin. Kaneko then stares at his whiskers. Naruto-senpai, can we hang out again? Asked Kaneko with a blush. Naruto, who also has a blush as he looks at the cute petite devil. Oh, like that, Kaneko. How about I walk you to class? Ko nods her head. Okay Naruto-senpai, said Kaneko as she eats a peanut butter cup that's the size of a baseball. Naruto couldn't help but to chuckle at Kaneko. As Kaneko eats the chocolate, she finds herself shocked not at the giant treat in her hands but the fact that she had opened up towards Naruto. She might have opened up a little, but she found herself wanting to be close. She knew he was human, but she sensed something else in him. She knew it wasn't his unknown sacred gear. If that was the case, she would find herself talking with the pervert Issei. She might not know what it is, but all the Neko knows is she wants to get to know him. But it also has to do with how kind Naruto is, which is a reliever since most people at the school only see her as the school mascot. But it seems like Naruto doesn't. It almost feels like he doesn't care about titles. And he gave me these sweets, thought Kaneko with a smile. Naruto glances down at Kaneko. So she does smile, said Naruto as he puts his hands in his pocket. Kaneko turns her head in the opposite direction of Naruto, not allowing the redhead Uzumaki to see her, pouting. Shut up Naruto-senpai, grumbled Kaneko, and crosses her arms. While this is happening, Sona, Akeno, and Rias watch in shocked. Akeno blinks her eyes in amazement as she sees Naruto Uzumaki and Kaneko walking together. Well, I didn't expect this, You could have guessed our very own Kaneko would not only be seen with Naruto but at having fun. Amusing, isn't it, Rias Bucko? Smiled Akeno. Rias narrows her eyes at Akeno. Amusing, no, interesting, yes. I just wonder what Naruto-san did to catch Kaneko attention. After all, the two have never really talked. The only person who Naruto-san has actually talked to before was Sons, said Rias as she watches the two with a careful eye. Sleep snickers at Rias, causing the red-headed devil to turn to her fellow devil. Fufufu. It is amusing, is it not, Rias Bucko? Said Akeno with an amused expression. This statement had caused the busty redhead to shot her best friend an excusing look. What are you talking about, Akeno? Questioned Rias. Even though this sounded like an order from her queen, Akeno just gives her friend an amusing smile. Ah, Rias Bucko is so clueless. How cute. Kaneko-chan isolates herself from anyone but us, while Naruto-kun isolates himself from everyone, well except for Sona-sama, but she always talks to him. It's a true mystery, is it not? Asked Akeno in charming tone, fitting someone of her beauty. Rias narrows her eyes at the retreating blonde and whitenette. Maybe we can use this to our advantage, pondered Rias. Akeno snickers at Rias. Fufu. How devious of Rias Bucko, joked Akeno. I'm a devil, whispered Rias in a hushed tone. Even with the serious tone her king has on her face, the ravenette still gains a mischievous grin. Or is it that Rias Bucko wants Uzumaki-kun? Even though you already have your eyes set on Hyodo-san, snickered Akeno. Rias gained deadpan expression. It isn't like that, Akeno-chan, and you know it, said Rias, but both devils knew they wanted the handsome redhead, but they just have to wait for the right time. Rias then gained a distant expression. I really do hope one of those two can help me with my problem, thought Rias. With Naruto and Kaneko. After Naruto watched Kaneko literary eat a sweet that's the size of a baseball had made Naruto wondering where does the petite whitenette put it all, especially since he's now watching her eat a very large payday bar that requires her to use both hands. The red-haired teen raises his eyebrow at her. Aren't you full? Asked a curious Naruto, who's also wondering where does she put it all. Kaneko's yellow orbs meet Naruto's ocean blue orbs. The first year almost felt herself being drawn to them, which nearly caused her to blush in embarrassment since she realized she was staring. It's good, said Kaneko in her stoic expression. Naruto smirked at the first year with Kaneko focus on the large candy. She didn't even notice the fox-like grin from the Uzumaki. Kaneko then turns towards Naruto with her eyes full with concern and wondering. Why are you welcome me to class, Naruto-senpai? Asked Kaneko, looking up at Naruto with her gaze. Ah, stated a female student as she watches the adorable first year and third year. They're so cute, exclaimed a fangirl. Is that Kaneko and Naruto? Asked Tomo, who's shocked at seeing the two walking together. Her friend Rhea blinks her eyes just to make sure she's actually seeing the whitenette and redhead walking together. I don't believe it, stated a dumbfounded Rhea. She's so adorable, exclaimed a female. Damn you, Uzumaki. Don't defile Kaneko-chan, roared a fanboy who's glaring daggers at Naruto. Damn that pretty boy, grumbled a pervert who's wearing glasses. Curse you, Uzumaki, howled a male student in jealousy. Both Naruto and Kaneko would have walked past the fangirls and fanboys, but they were stopped by Sona, who raised her glasses, giving the two a stern and strict stare. I see you are walking Taju-san to class, Naruto-san. How kind of you, Naruto-san, said Sona. Naruto just shrugged his shoulders in a nonchalant manner. It seemed like the right thing to do. Besides, if I hadn't, my Ka-chan would probably punish me for not being a gentleman, said Naruto. Sona nods her head in agreement while both third years were talking. Kaneko glares at Sona, or more precisely at her breast. While they weren't as big as Rias Bucko or Akeno-senpai, the young Neko can't help to feel jealousy since most women she has been around always had huge breast and her being cursed with flat chest. Kaneko turned towards Naruto and turns to Sons. She then notices Naruto never even looked at Sona's breast. She had seen Sune and Naruto talking, and she had never seen him staring at her breast. Actually, all the times she had passed by him, she had never really seen him staring at any girl's breast or bottom, like almost all of THR guys at Kuo except for Kiba. Kaneko then narrows her eyes at Naruto. She felt a stranger energy coming off of him. Not devil, Yukai, angel, or fallen angel energy. At least he's not a pervert. I hate perverts, thought Kaneko as she thinks of the perverted trio. While Sona continues her conversion with Naruto about acting like a respectable young man, her thoughts are on something else. More precise about the energy she feels around him and his mysterious sacred gear. I wonder what sacred gear it is. Whatever sacred gear he has will no doubt attract the attention of the fallen angels. Even though Rias and I both need a powerful member to our peerage, we can't help but feel bad about allowing such an innocent life as Naruto to be killed. Thought Sona as she stares at the male redhead. Even with her own inner thoughts, she still has her stern and serious expression. Uzumaki-san, maybe you can show Hyodo-san, Matsuda-san, and Motohama-san how to behave like honorable students of Kuo? Asked Sona. Naruto just shook his head negatively. No, I don't think so, said Naruto without a second thought as he waves his hand in the air. This response had caused both Kaneko and Sons to raise an eyebrow at Naruto. And why wouldn't you, Uzumaki-san? Asked Sona in a curious tone. Naruto releases a sigh of tiredness. Come on Sona-senpai, you're an intelligent woman. If I did even explain how a male student is supposed to act, it'll just come out one ear and out the other. The only thing those idiots care about is peeping on woman and stupid porn, said Naruto with a growl. Sona could only sweat drop at his hatred for pervert trio's perverted nature. Kaneko nods her head in agreement, believing what he's saying is true. She also liked how he insulted each of those perverts, but she can also sense a deep hatred when he spoke about the perverts. Stupid perverts, said Kaneko. She'd also wondered what had caused this certain rage of perverts. She of course knew it was not her place to question him since it was his business, and she did not know the redhead well enough to ask him. The young courtier lets out a snecko. She has no idea what has caused his deep hatred for perverts. She of course had asked him, but the Uzumaki would change the subject or just ignore her question. I really wish you would reconsider, Uzumaki-senpai, stated Sona. Naruto just crosses his arms and gains a serious expression. Well, I don't plan to ever talk to those idiots. Besides, why have you really talked to me this morning? I doubt it's about having those little perverts act right or Kaneko-san and myself arriving at school together, stated Naruto. He read you, stated Kaneko in her stoicism tone. Sona glances at Kaneko. She then turned her attention towards Naruto. You are correct, Uzumaki-san. I confronted you about something, as I am hoping you will agree, said Sona with a tone of high stature fitting someone who has their leadership. He raised a delegated eyebrow at the ravenet. Well, it depends what it is, Sona-senpai. Yano, I won't just agree blindly, right? Asked Naruto as he places his hand on his hip. The courtier devil nods her head in agreement. Yes, I am aware, Uzumaki-san, said Sona. So, what do you want to ask? Questioned Naruto as he stares at the courtier. I want to know if you would join the student council. There's an opening for our treasurer and I was hoping you would join the student council, Uzumaki-senpai? Asked Sons. Naruto's stare became hardened. No, I'm busy, said Naruto, shocking both Kaneko and Sona. Busy with what, Naruto-senpai? Asked a curious Kaneko, who's look up at Naruto with wonder. Sona also nods her head in agreement. I would also like to know why too, questioned Sona. I'm just too busy to actually do that kind of things. Joining a club or school council isn't something I would find interesting. Now if you excuse me, I have to walk Kaneko to her class and get to my own. We're having a test today and I'd rather not be late, said Naruto. He and Kaneko walks right past her, but as the two walk past Sons, Kaneko gives Sona a slight bow in respect, at which she nods her head at the whitenet. Sona then narrows her eyes as she sees a strange aurora surrounding Naruto. I must be prepared for when the fallen angels begin to make their move on Uzumaki-san and Hyodo-san. But knowing the fallen angels, they'll mostly make their moves soon, thought Sona. As Sona makes her way to her own class, Naruto turned towards Kaneko, who has not stopped staring at him. I like your bike. It's dope, stated Kaneko, who gives the redhead a thumbs up. Naruto didn't know how, but somehow even with her stoic expression the petite teen still looked cute. But Naruto just gives the whitenet a small smile. So, Kaneko, what do you like to do? Asked Naruto, who's curious about the small whitenet. Kaneko glances at his whiskered birthmarks. Kitty, thought Kaneko as she imagines a blonde feline. I like sweets, Uzumaki-senpai, stated Kaneko with a tone of pride. He lets out a small chuckle. Kaneko puffs out her cheeks, believing Naruto is making fun of her. Eehee. Kaneko-san, don't be like. Besides, I already know you love sweets. Is there anything else you like? Like something you enjoy doing? Asked Naruto. The whitenet stops puffing out her cheeks. This action had caused a few squeals from the females and cursing from the men, yelling about their lolicon, but both had obviously ignored the fangirls and lolicons. She then points at Naruto. He just stared at her with a raised eyebrow. Uzumaki-senpai, go first. declared Kaneko, but to everyone else of hearing distance it sounds more of an order. Sure. Okay. I like the color orange, I like reading books, I enjoy anime, I like J-pop, I enjoy riding my bike, I also enjoy playing games, I like to play shogi, and I love ramen. So, what about you, Kaneko-san? Asked Naruto with his voice laced in curiosity. I like cats, my friends, tea, walking around, I like mochi, I like ice cream, and rap, said Kaneko. Really? You like rap? Asked Naruto, finding it hard that out of all the things she likes is rap. Kaneko nods her head yes. I love rap. I love Keith Ape, Rich Chiga, Kyle, Yeji, XXXTentacion, and Kendrick their dope Uzumaki-san, said Kaneko with a raised thumb. Ahaha. I bet I have listened to Yeji, she's pretty awesome. Also, she's electronic not rap, said Naruto with a half grin. Kaneko then grabs onto Naruto's sleeve. Stupid senpai. Pout Kaneko. Ah, don't pout Kaneko, how about tomorrow I take you to this other candy store I know, said Naruto. And just like a switch her pace slowed down at the sound of candy shop. While still walking she turned her head towards the redhead and her yellow orb eyes gazing into his own. You will? Asked Kaneko. He nods his head. Yeah, of course. I take it this is your class? Asked Naruto, who stopped in front of a classroom. She nods her head and lets go of his sleeve. What is the name of the candy shop and what time? Asked Kaneko. Naruto could have sworn he saw a twinkle in her eye. The store is called Mamie's Fantasy and let's meet at that burger place at 12:30. Is that good with you? Asked Naruto. She nods. Alright, see you later, said Naruto. Bye senpai, said Kaneko as she enters the classwork. While she enters her class Naruto sighs to himself and runs his hand through his crimson locks. Okay, why the hell did I just agree to take her out? There was no reason for me to agree, and no, I have to take out. I of course could not go at all, but that seems like an asshole move. Oh, well at least tomorrow is a weekend, thought Naruto as he makes his way down the halls ignoring the females checking him out. Time skip later that day Naruto is sitting into his science class ready to take his test. Naruto honestly just wanted the day to be over, mostly because he's annoyed with all the states he has gotten thanks to him and Kaneko arriving at school and walking together at school, but now he's waiting to take the test and leave. Someone then enters a classroom. This person is a woman who appears to be in her late 20s. She then smiles at them, nearly causing a few females to be jealous at the busty woman, and the rest of the men gain a heart-struck expression. Hello. My name is Hajiri Kanata. Miss Kobayashi is not going to be here for a while due to an accident, so I'll be filling in for her for the time being. So for the time being you may call me Hajiri-sensei, said Hajiri with a bright smile. Hajiri is a tall and buxom woman with long, navy blue hair that obscured her right eye. She also keeps her hair in a ponytail, and has brown eyes. She usually wears a white V-neck shirt with a wide collar that reveals some of her cleavage, a dark skirt. Underneath her skirt she wears black pantyhose, and wears black high heels. Hajiri then sits down in the desk behind her desk. This had caused her massive breast to bounce, causing nearly all the boys in the class to have a nosebleed except for Naruto. Okay, Kobayashi-sensei had said you had a test. Just because I'm here doesn't mean we aren't going to have a test, said Hajiri. She ignores each of the groans from the students. Right after everyone intrudes themselves to Hajiri-sensei, they had gotten their test. They began, but for Naruto this test felt like it was long. The test wasn't really hard for him, mostly because he had studied his ass off, plus it helps with having a mother like Kushina making him study in his free time. I just want to hurry and finish this test already, thought Naruto, who has a bored expression on his face as he stares down at the paper. Killer her, ordered evil ominous voice. Naruto turns left and right searching for the sound but couldn't find anything. Upon seeing Naruto look around, had cause to be stared at Hajiri-sensei. Is there something wrong, Uzumaki-san? Asked Hajiri with the tilt of the head. You could hear a young teen being flung from his desk who obviously had a serious nosebleed. Naruto turned to the woman and shook his head negatively. No, I thought drop something, Hajiri-sensei, stated Naruto. Hajiri-sensei nods in acceptance of his lie, which wasn't a total lie since he did drop his pencil. As Naruto looks down at his point to wonder who spoke just now, the voice didn't sound familiar, it felt voidless, but he chalks it up to hearing things. But before he knew it he was finished with the test, already walking down the hall minding his own business, ignoring the glares male students. He honestly can't wait till he graduates and doesn't have to deal with the immature males at Kuo-a. Hopefully when I go to college I won't have to deal with these idiots. For some reason I just can't forget that voice. I wonder what the hell that has that voice. Doesn't sound familiar. There's no way in hell that voice in class belonged to anyone in class, thought Naruto. I can't believe Issei has a girlfriend, said Matsuda with his voice laced with jealousy. Motohama nods his head in agreement. I know, right? Did you see the size of her titties? Roared Motohama, who has a nosebleed as he imagines himself grabbing some breast. Naruto walks past the two prevents with an annoyed expression. Seriously, how the hell are those two or that other idiot not in jail? Thought Naruto. He then came to a stop when felt something crashed into himself. He looks down and see Akeno rubbing her head. Naruto extends his hand out. Akeno grabs hold of his hand, allowing him to pull her up. My bad, I wasn't looking where I was going, said Naruto. Akeno blushed in embracement as she hadn't introduced herself. Usually everyone knows who she is, but it seems like the young Uzumaki doesn't. Hello. My name is Akeno Hamejima, a third year, said Akeno with a beautiful smile. Naruto nods his head. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. I'm a third year. I must be going. I'm in a rush, Akeno-san, said Naruto as he begins to speed walk towards the student parking lot. Naruto was even able to miss the Ravenette charming smile. He's quite handsome up close. I must tell Rias-chan the job was a success. I can see why nearly all the girls talk about him. He's a looker, thought Akeno with a pleasant smile. With Sona within the student council office, Sona can be seen staring at her best friend Rias Grammary, who has a smile on her face. This had caused Sona to raise an eyebrow at the red-haired female. You've made contact with Uzumaki-san, haven't you? Stated Sona. Both turned to see Akeno walking in the room. Rias tips some of her tea and nods her head. Yes, I did. I knew I couldn't use the same method on Naruto-san like with Issei, said Rias with a proud smile on her face, almost like she had won a prize. Sona then turned towards Tsubaki. She is a young bespectacled woman with long straight black hair that extends all the way down to her knees, with split bangs and heterochromic eyes, with a violet left eye and a light brown right eye. In addition to wearing the Kuo Academy girls' school uniform, she also wears blue, semi-rimmed glasses with square lenses. Tsubaki, how is everything? asked Suns as she glances towards her fellow Ravenette. The glasses-wearing devil turned towards Sona. It is going as you planned. All that is needed to wait, Sona bucko, said Tsubaki with a respectable bow. She then refills both of Rias and Sona's cups. Era, how devilish of two. Both plan to claim their prize once the chance is right, joked Akenk, thus making Rias have a slight blush across her cheeks. Sona sips her tea. Akeno-san, we are devils. Both Rias and myself are heir to the Sidier and Grammary household. As such, we have a responsibility to show we have owned our rightful place as heirs of our own family, said Sona in a lecture tone. Sona is right, Akeno-chan, plus you should know as a devil we have our own selfish desire. Anyways, Akeno-san, did you do what I asked? Asked Rias, who has a curious expression on her beautiful face. Akeno bows to her king. Yes, it is down, Rias bucko. I placed a summon IMG paper into his coat and he didn't accept a thing. What about you, Sona-sama? How did you give Issei the contract? Asked Akeno. Simple, I used my familiar. He should be back any minute, said Sona. Era. I wonder what their reaction will be when they become a devil, said Akeno with a blush on her face. Tsubaki just shakes her head negatively at her fellow queen. You sound like a succubus, Akeno-san, said Tsubaki. She sometimes wonder if Akeno was the incarnation of lust. Even though Akeno was a virgin, she still acted like the goddess of lust. Even with Akeno's quirks, she accepted Akeno for all her weird quirks. Akeno looks at Tsubaki with her head tilted to the side. She then placed a finger on her chin, thus giving the busty Akeno a thinking pose. But I'm a devil, said Akeno in a fake clueless tone. But before Tsubaki can even react at Akeno, the summoning seal appears. Sona smiles at the sight of her Fenrir familiar. Her familiar is named Sanriku, Sun Lake. Sanriku is a huge wolf from Norse mythology who is usually the height of at least 15 feet tall. The mythical creature also has an ability to alter its size. Sanriku has snow-white fur, black eyes with gold pupils, and he has two blue markings on each side of his face below his eyes which resemble horizontal scars. Sanriku now appears to be the size of a full-grown bulldog. The canine creature goes to Sona and licks her hand. She scratches behind his ear. Have you completed your job, Sanriku? Asks Sona. Sanriku nods his head. Rias smiles at the familiar and turned towards Sona and grins at her best friend. So that's how you gave Issei the contract, stated Rias. Sona nods her head. Yes, it is. I assume it's only a matter of time for that woman to make her move, said Sona with a stoic expression. She then gazes at the small stack of paperwork on her desk. Akeno smiles at Sona. Era, it seems like Issei will cause a problem, chuckled Akeno. All the other females shot her a questionable gaze. Care to explain what you mean by that? Asked Tsubaki as she narrows her eyes at Akeno. The busty ravenette simply shrugged her shoulders, causing her huge breast to bounce. Really, Tsubaki-chan, you don't know why? Well, to put it simply, Issei is the type of person who always gets in trouble, whether willing or not. The boy always finds himself in some type of trouble. I mean, the fallen angels have only just arrived a few weeks ago and they already attempting to kill Issei, but with Naruto they haven't even came in contact with them. But this could be since he doesn't talk to anyone or doesn't try to start a form of relationship with anyone in Kuo, said Akeno. Rias, Tsubaki, and Sona found themselves agreeing with Akeno. They all knew Naruto was quite handsome and the only male in Kuo who wasn't a pervert besides Kiba. Even with his looks, the male redhead was somehow antisocial and still popular with a few of the females. Sona then turns towards Rias. I am actually curious about their sarst gear, said Sona. Rias always agrees with Sona. She also wondered what sarst gear the two have. She knew the two both had a strong sarst. The only problem was neither of the two women know which it was. Time skip. Night time. Naruto threw off his shirt and fell into the bed groaning from the long day. He honestly felt extremely exhausted physically, mentally, and spirituality. Luckily he was greeted with his mom who had made miso ramen. But not only was school exhausted, but going down to his usual spot was exhausted. Usual helping those people never left him dead exhausted, but he was happy he was able to help this woman from committing suicide. Naruto actually felt sorry for her, poor woman, to be used as a means for money. It's hard to imagine parents would sell their daughter out like a prostitute just for money. I guess it shows how cruel people can be, thought Naruto. He then feels his eyes becoming heavy. With tiredness being too much, he closes his eyes, falling asleep. Naruto is then greeted to a dark void of nothingness. Usually this would confuse him, but Naruto understood. Sometimes your mind strange bizarre dreams. Wahaha, this is no dream, boy, roared evil voice. Naruto looks around the dark space. Who's there? Demanded Naruto, narrowing his eyes. Naruto didn't know why, but a mysterious figure was grinning. Don't worry my user, you will soon find out, said the dark voice. Naruto can't help but decide. Damn, my mind is weird, commented Naruto with a sweat drop. I told you, boy, I am not a figment of your imagination, roared the dark voice. Naruto jumps back in fright. Then who the hell are you, Yano? Asked Naruto. I can't answer that because you are still not ready, but beware those with the black wings, commanded the voice. The next morning Naruto woke up rubbing the sleep from his eyes. He then released a loud yawn making him look like a foxman. What a strange dream, exclaimed Naruto. He then lays back in his bed and putting his headphones in his ears listening to Pretty Reckless. Soon young Gorgon you will understand, said the dark voice. He didn't know what had caused him to have such a strange dream. Sure, he has some strange dreams, especially when he was in grade school. He had a dreamed about World War III. He even had a zombie apocalypse dream, but nothing like the one he had last night. Felt too real, so vivid. He then run his hand through his crimson locks. Well, whatever, I still have time before I have to meet with Kaneko, but I honestly can't believe I'm taking her out. If Ka-chan found out, she'll kill me. Well, at least it's the weekend, thought Naruto. He then grabs his head in frustration as he sees something ancient, something dark. What the hell? Groaned Naruto in annoyance for the young Uzumaki. It was too early for him to dealing with headaches. While he had no problems with waking up in the morning, he'd rather not have a headache or anything ruin his morning. He then grabs his phone and plugs in his headphones and plays XXX Tentacion King of the Dead. I'm hungry, probably should get something to eat, said Naruto. He starches his stomach and sees his mother already in the kitchen. He smiles at his mother. He then takes out headphones and grins at her, who shoots her a 1,000-watt smile. Hey Naruto, you slept good? Asked Kushina, who's standing in front of the stove cooking scrambled eggs. Naruto shrugged his shoulders. He grabs a glass and pours himself a cup full of orange juice. I guess I just had this weird dream, said Naruto. He takes a sip and turns the television on. As soon as the television came on, he saw it was the news and quickly changed it to Freaks and Greeks. He wasn't a fan of the news, mostly because all the news that comes on is always about someone being killed, robbed, or sued. And the news just wasn't his scene, but he doesn't really watch TV due to him always being outside. But he was happy that he didn't have school, mostly due to him finding the people at his school increasingly annoying, especially the perverted three. He'd heard that Issei somehow got a girlfriend. He couldn't care less because it wasn't really his business, and he'd figured the girl would dump him as soon as she finds out what kind of person he is, but if she doesn't, then all good for her. Kushina flashed Naruto a curious expression. Was it the one with the zombies or clones? Asked Kushina, who remembered all the times where Sun would tell her of his bizarre dreams. She was honestly impressed with how much he remembers and wrote his imagination. Even when he was a child he'd had a wild imagination, but she can't help but wondered if Naruto had another strange dream. Naruto shook his head negatively. No, just some weird dream about some deep voice. It was really weird, said Naruto, who glances back at his mother. Kushina nods her head. You're right, that sounds weird. Do you want bacon? Asked Kushina. Naruto nods his head. You know Tsunade has been asking about you? Asked Kushina. Naruto blinks at her in confusion. Really? What about? Asked Naruto, wondering what his godmother wanted from him. Nothing really, just wondering when you're coming over. She misses you, Yano, said Kushina. The red-haired woman then flips the eggs to the other side. Seeing they're fully cooked, she sets the eggs on a huge plate and puts the pan in the sink. Naruto runs his hand through his hair. I guess it slipped my mind, I'm so busy with school, but it'll be fun seeing Tsunade-ban and Danji-san again. Maybe I'll visit them this week or something, said Naruto. He had honestly forgot about visiting his godmother. He didn't mean to, it had just slipped his mind due to school, meeting Kaneko, and him helping other people, and now that strange dream. Kushina smiles brightly at her son. Sure, raising him after Minato was hard, but she knew her son would grow to be a great man like her husband, but she still wished the man was still alive. While Tsunade, Dan, their daughters Tsunami, Nawaki were there for her and Naruto. She feels like he needed a father figure, and Dan is old enough to be Naruto's grandfather, and Nawaki is more of a brother figure to her son, but she was still happy with her son. I'm sure they would like that very much, and you know how much Tsunami looks up to you, states Kushina. She then takes a bite of her bacon. Naruto chuckles at Kushina. His mother always seemed so energetic and full of life. He can't help but wonder if his mom has always been like this, or was it after she had met his father. He then grabs his head, pain as if something is banging within his skull. His eyes widened as he sees a demonic Roman goth-looking helmet glaring into his soul, but suddenly the strange image vanished. Naruto, are you okay? Asked Kushina, staring at her child with concern and worried. Huh? Replied Naruto. I said, are you okay? Repeated a worried Kushina. She then placed her palm on his head. She then has a small smile. It doesn't seem like you're sick. Are you feeling okay? Asked Kushina in a worried tone. She then got up and poured him some juice, at which he drank within a matter of seconds. Did you get a headache? Asked Kushina. Naruto slowly nods his head, running his hand through his red locks. Yeah, I think I was just feeling a little dizzy, said Naruto, flashing his mother a assuring smile. But the thing was that it didn't feel like a headache. He was sure headaches aren't supposed to feel like your head was being ripped from the outside and inside, and he was pretty sure if he told her about the dream she would think there's something seriously and mentally wrong with, so he would deal with this alone. Hell, I'm not even sure what the dream was, but whatever, it's a dream, thought Naruto, who begins to eat the breakfast while staring at the television. An old movie was playing. The warrior priestess and his favorite actress Koyuki Kazuhana was in it. Kushina turned towards Naruto with a half grin, at which Naruto raised an eyebrow at her. Haven't you seen this movie like over 100 times? Joked Kushina. She can still remember when she and Minato took Naruto to see one of Koyuki's movie for the first. He was so amazed and dazzled at the movie. He also acted the same when he saw Jurassic Park and Spider-Man for the first time. Even sometimes when we would see those big budget movies he would stare in amazement. She watches as Naruto takes a bite of his sausage. Yano, I can say for you, Ka-chan. I mean, how many times have you seen Pan? Asked Naruto. Kushina in response puffed out her cheeks. It's a classic, Databane, exclaimed Kushina. Naruto grins widely at Kushina, who accidentally used her tick. Yeah, I know, so is warrior priestess. So we're even, said Naruto. He then eats the rest of his eggs. He then takes it to the kitchen and begins to wash it. Kushina hands the plate to her son, who begins to wash the dishes. She then turned towards Naruto. So, what do you plan to do today? Anything special? Asked a curious Kushina. Naruto just shrugged his shoulders. I think I'll go to the library. There's a book I want to check out, lied Naruto. He knew if she found out he not only lied to her but is also spending his time with a female. He knew she didn't want him dating until he was finished with college. He wasn't even really sure why he even agreed to take her to that candy shop. He also wasn't an idiot. He was fully aware if he had asked Kaneko to Zhu barely knew the whitenet he could always cancelled it, but that would be a move. Nothing I can do about it now. Thought Naruto. He couldn't really do anything about it. He doesn't even know out of all the girls he asked Kaneko, the only other girl he actually talks to who doesn't fawn over him is Sona Shidori, who's someone who he knows for 2 years, but he doubts she would consider dating. Hell, he himself didn't think he'll ask someone out. After he washed and put away all of the dishes, the red-haired then took a shower, but while he was in the shower his mind was plagued with the strange voice he heard. It was so foreign and the voice didn't sound like it could be friendly. It exactly sounded like it wished to kill someone, but for some odd reason he doesn't feel threatened, probably because it was my own damn mind. Whispered Naruto as he exits out of the shower. He gets dressed. Instead of wearing his school uniform, he decided to wear a black shirt over it. He wore a Monstar jersey. He also can be seen wearing camo jeans and black Nikes. The shoelaces of the show are a dark blue color. He grabs phone, wallet, headphones, helmet, and keys to his Honda Niaoing motorcycle. Naruto can be seen walking down the stairs by Ka-chan. "I'll see you later," said Naruto. Kushina waves back at him. He then hops onto his motorcycle with Bluetooth on. He plays Capital Steez Apex. He smiles as the wind blows in his face. No matter how many times he always enjoyed the feeling. He was also sure many other bikers enjoyed it too. Plus he was sure no one has a bike quite like this. He remembers when he got the bike he pretended like he was Ghost Rider, but he obviously wasn't doing any of the crazy tricks, mostly because that was absolutely insane to ever attempt to ever do. The red-haired teen sees that he comes to a stop light. He then feels as if he's being watched. He turned his head and sees 3 kids gawking in awe at his motorcycle. He wasn't really surprised by that. After all, most people stare at his bike as if it was made from the dreams itself, at which it pretty much is. And luckily he got his license when he was 16 years so old, and he doesn't have to rely on anyone to take him, and he doesn't need to take a bus with it's him driving. He can leave when he wants and doesn't have to wait. With the light turning green, drives off. In a matter of minutes he sees Queen Burger, the place where you will meet the petite whitenet, and it wasn't that hard to find her. He sees her standing outside petting a cat. Kaneko can be seen wearing a light blue shirt, back leggings over them. She wears blue jean shorts and a pair of black shoes. At the sound of the motorcycle, Kaneko turned her head and sees Naruto. "Been waiting long, Kaneko?" asked Naruto. He watches as she shook her head negatively. She looks down at his motorcycle, admiring it. She also noticed the music that is being played. "Rich Shiga is dope," said Kaneko, who gives Naruto a thumbs up. Naruto in response laughs, causing her to pout and punch him in the arm, and Naruto found himself surprised by the strength used by her. She then extends her arms out. "Let's go," said Kaneko. Naruto hands her a helmet, at which she puts it on and hops on the bike. She then wrapped her arms around Naruto and snuggles into his back. "He's so warm," thought Kaneko. Naruto ignored her, snuggling up to him, and begins to drive off, heading towards Mamie's fantasy, and Kaneko is giddy with excitement. The only thing she loves more than rap music and candy is her family, but if the food at Mamie's fantasy is as good as her senpai says it to be, she'll gladly sell the souls of her friends just to see if it lives to the hype. She then stares at his hair. It wasn't as luscious as Rias's red hair, but his hair has its very own shine. "Naruto senpai," said Kaneko. In response he hums. "Yeah, is something up?" asked Naruto is curious. "I was wondering, why did you ask me to come with you and why not Sona senpai? You two seem to know each other?" asked Kaneko. Naruto couldn't help to gain a sweat drop on the side of his head. "Honestly, I have no deal. I actually asked myself that this morning, but I couldn't have why I asked you. Why would you rather I bring Sona instead?" asked Naruto. "No, I want to go," said Kaneko in a flat tone. She wasn't even sure why she'd agreed to go with Naruto. She knew it wasn't just to try out the new candy shop. Okay, that was a lie, but there was another reason why she had agreed, and she was unsure what the reason might be. She knew that Rias had told her and the rest of the peerage about Naruto having a sacred gear, but him having a sacred gear will lead herself to accepting his invitation at best. She was curious about him. She found him quite interesting, far more interesting than anyone at school, mostly because at school only see her as the school's mascot and don't even bother to get to know who she is except for her friends and Sona's peerage, and Naruto was the only one who didn't call her by her school life title. Instead he treated her like an average person. Usually such things wouldn't really concern her, but for some reason him treating her as a normal person had made her feel warm. Kaneko then smiles as the wind blows through her face. "This is nice," thought Kaneko. She then looked at his jersey and it looked similar. A smile traveled on her face as she recognized it. "That's from Space Jam, isn't it, Naruto senpai?" asked Kaneko. Naruto nods his head with a smile. Yeah, it is. It's cool you recognize this jersey, said Naruto. The comment caused Kaneko to blush. It's a classic, said Kaneko. Naruto nods his head in agreement. It sure is. I also have a Toons Squad jersey, a like Mike jersey. Yano, the good one with Bow Wow, not the other one, and an Airbud one, said Naruto. I didn't know they had an Airbud jersey, said Kaneko. Same, but we're almost there. I'd also like to get to know you, said Naruto. Kaneko looks at him with shock. You would, but haven't you heard of me before? I'm the school's mascot, said Kaneko in a flat tone. Naruto just raised an eyebrow at the strange title. No, not really, said Naruto, shocking Kaneko. I don't really listen to the rumors around school. I find them pointless. Besides, I'm focused on my grades and which college to attend to, so I don't really bother keeping up to date with rumors. Besides, that's a really stupid title, said Naruto. Kaneko agreed with Naruto. It was a very stupid title to be called. She had also heard a lot from him, like how smart and handsome he was. She heard many girls talking about his whiskers. People even thought both Naruto and Rias were siblings due to their red hair, but that rumor was quickly dispatched as Naruto and Rias had never really talked to each other. But people did think Naruto and Sona were going out, but that was a rumor going around. But out of all the rumors, she was happy that one rumor around him was that he was kind. While she was curious about the sacred gear he had, she was also curious about him as a person. I'd rather have Naruto-senpai than that pervert, thought Kaneko. Hell, if she had to choose between a rock and Issei, then she would choose the rock. Kaneko had a hatred for perverts, and Issei has a huge pervert, the biggest pervert in the world at best. She almost felt bad that Sona and her peerage are going to get Issei. We're here, said Naruto, drawing Kaneko from her deep thought, and she sees it. Actually, it would be nearly impossible to see. The building was as big as a hometown buffet store. Kaneko stares at the store with a look of amazement. She had never seen a candy store it's big, said Kaneko. Naruto and Kaneko parked as the two step off of the bike, and Naruto clips a lock on both of the helmets. He grins at Kaneko, who marvels at the store. Yeah, that's the expression of those who first see it, and as you can see, the store is busy, said Naruto. He turned and sees Kaneko slowly walking towards the store, and she's not listening, thought Naruto. He then presses the button on his keys, locking the gears on his motorcycle. He then walks to buy her. If you're amazed by Tebe, amazed within the inside, said Naruto. He then feels Kaneko grab hold on his hand. Naruto raised an eyebrow at Kaneko, who turned towards him with an expression on conviction. Come on, Naruto-senpai, I want to see what they have, said Kaneko, who begins to walk in fast-paced. With Naruto having to walk fast to get was also surprised that she was able to drag him. He didn't expect such a small girl to have this much strength. Even her hold on his hand was tight. He then blushes as he realizes he's holding hands with a girl. Thanks to the speed walking of the petite whitenette, the two step within the building and marvels at the candy. Not only is the store filled with various of treats, but they even have candy that are human-size candy, far taller than her short-size heaven, whispered Kaneko. This comment caused Naruto giggle. Kaneko then grabs a shopping cart and drags Naruto to a large bag of marshmallows. The marshmallows themselves were the size of a bowling ball. Kaneko, I'm only buying you 5 things, so don't go crazy, said Naruto. Kaneko puffed out her cheeks with displeasure. Fine, pouted Kaneko. The people watching them release a loud awe. This comment had caused the redhead and whitenette duo to blush. Kaneko quickly dumped the marshmallows in the cart. She then quickly drags Naruto off, but as they got far away from the group, she comes to Haunt and turns towards the blushing Uzumaki. She quickly turned her head around, not allowing to her blushing cheeks. You drive, demanded Kaneko. Naruto shook his head at her, and unfortunately for her, she had never been to this place, so she had to rely on Naruto. I know something you might like, said Naruto. He then begins walking, causing her to look at him with a curious expression. The two then begins to walk by various of snack. Each of them looked delicious. She also couldn't believe the sheer size of them. The two comes to a stop by Rice Krispie treats, but the box of the Rice Krispie treats equaled to the size of 4 bricks. She also noticed these weren't plain, they were mixed with chocolate, caramel, and peanut butter, and Naruto watches as she quickly grabs it with remarkable speed. She then turned towards him with her yellow eyes gleaming with happiness. I want cookies. What kind do they have? Asked Kaneko, who really wanted to eat almost all the treats she saw, but she had to fight the urge. After all, he did say she can only get 5 items. The real question is what they don't have, stated Naruto. He then pushes the cart with Kaneko walking next to him. He then turned towards her with a curious expression on his face. I know you like sweets and rap music, but that's about it. I don't know what else you like or your family is like. said Naruto. He then quickly noticed the saddened expression within her eyes. I take something had happened with your family. You don't have to tell me, but I know that expression. It's the expression of someone you have lost. It must be hard, said Naruto. Kaneko turned towards Naruto with a surprised expression, who was surprised she had lost her parents and in some case lost her elder sister Kuroko while she was still alive. She was a wanted criminal. You've lost someone? Asked Kaneko. Naruto nods his head. Yeah. I understood what it feels like to lose someone, but enough of this sad stuff. How about you tell me something about yourself, something I don't know? Asked Naruto with a smile on his face. I hate perverts, said Kaneko in a flat tone. Naruto snickered at her. Like that Issei guy? Asked Naruto. She nods her head. Especially him, degenerate lewd cockroach, said Kaneko. Wow, I didn't think I would meet anyone who hates perverts more than Tsunade Ban. Thought Naruto. Anything else? Asked Naruto. Kaneko nods her head. Cats, said Kaneko, causing Naruto to raise an eyebrow at the comment. I love cats. I also like walking around the city. I like cartoons and your bike. It's cool, said Kaneko with a blush. Naruto chuckles at this. Kaneko then elbows him the ribs, causing Naruto to grunt in slight pain. I like my bike too. I like many things. I especially like going for long walks, listening to music, and I like falling to sleep while listening to Yaji. While falling to sleep, her music is really relaxing. I also like driving around on my bike, said Naruto. The two look at all the various of cookies that are in various of sides. Kaneko wipes her mouth, stopped the drool. She couldn't help but to wonder if she was in heaven. Even though she is a devil, to her this store is exactly what she imagined what her personal heaven would be. I can die happy now, thought Kaneko, who had saw chocolate chip, caramel, s'mores, Butterfingers, Hershey's, and mint. Her yellow eyes then lingered to Girl Scout cookies. She turned around and her eyes widened with delight. The cookies she was staring at her far bigger than her own small hands. She was positive that the cookies themselves were at least 4 times the size of her own hands. The cookies have peanut butter cups, roasted marshmallows, white chocolate and cheesecake. Her head slowly turned towards the redhead. She then points at the cookies. What is this? Asked Kaneko with a wide-eyed expression on her face. Naruto looks where she's pointing and smiles. Oh, that? Asked Naruto. Kaneko nods towards in a fast pace. That's the Mondo cookies. They're very popular. You're lucky to even be able to find them. Megami had told me they usually run out by 11. Said Naruto. He watches as a woman begins to grab it, but Kaneko grabs it and glares at the woman. Mine, said Kaneko in a flat tone. The woman then backs away from the petite, who had a dark aura surrounding her. She wasn't going to let anyone take the candy away from her. She didn't care if the lady had been never had it. She wasn't going to let anyone take away from her, not even Road, who she cares deeply for and would sacrifice her life for. Her head then turned towards Naruto. I want cake, Naruto-senpai, said Kaneko. Instead of answering her, he just pushed the cart with Kaneko following him. I take it back, said Naruto, causing Kaneko to give him a questionable stare. You don't just like sweets, you love them, said Naruto. The only thing Kaneko did was nod their head. She had allowed a smile to graze her lips. She found herself enjoying his presence more than she originally thought. While her thoughts on Naruto, the red-haired teen narrowed his eyes as his head felt like someone was ringing bells inside of his head. He didn't understand why his head hurt so much. He's then forced to shut his eyes due to his vision beginning to blur. He didn't understand why this was happening. He knew it wasn't a headache or his vision after that strange dream. He's been feeling strange. It's almost time, young Gorgon. Soon you'll understand. Just hang in there, it won't be very long. Soon, you'll understand your lineage, Gorgon, warned the strange voice. Before he can even question the strange voice, Kaneko pokes his arm. He turned towards her, who pointing at the cakes. Are you okay, Naruto-senpai? You like you were in deep thought? Asked a curious Kaneko. I wondered could it be his sacred gear, thought Kaneko. Naruto nods his head with a fake smile. He's lying, thought Kaneko. The two walk over to the cake section. Now remember, this will be your 4th item, but all these cakes taste good. Anything you pick would be perfect, said Naruto. While he didn't taste everyone one of these cakes, but he trusted Megami to not make a bad cake. You pick. Which one is your favorite? Asked the white-anet. Naruto grins in response. Well, that's easy, it's got to be the French white chocolate cheesecake, said Naruto. I don't know what it is, but I want it, said Kaneko in a tone with conviction. She then searched for the cake, leaving Naruto alone with the cart. It didn't take the white-anet that long to find. She then sees something reaching it. She then easily snatched it for herself. She turned towards the person and sees a small little girl. Instead of giving the cake to the small cart, she walked towards Naruto, leaving the girl flabbergasted. Who Heian would give the cake to their child? Kaneko then turned towards Naruto. Where to next? Asked the young girl. How about some brownies? Asked Naruto. Her only response was a nod of the head. Okay, then follow me, said Naruto, and follow him. The two then walked towards the opposite direction, and the whitenet couldn't help but to feel like a complete idiot that she didn't notice brownies were there. She looks down in embarrassment. Naruto smiles at her. At least she's showing herself. She definitely looks better with a smile than that emotionless mask she wears. I wondered what happened to her, thought Naruto, but he knew the girl wasn't ready to talk about it and he was fine with that. Naruto then picks up a box of brownies. On the box read Recess and Hershey brownies. Trust me, these are awesome, said Naruto. The two then head to the checkout counter. Are you taking me home after this? Asked Kaneko, who sounded sad. This didn't go unnoticed by Naruto. He shook his head negatively. No, I thought we would go to a cafe after this. How does that sound? Asked Naruto. Kaneko smiles at him. I'd like that, said Kaneko, who was feeling quite happy with herself. She had accepted his invitation. She also hoped today was going to be slow. Next day, the young Uzumaki can be seen at the library. Within the library, Naruto is reading the Jurassic Park book. He had always wanted to read the book after he heard the movie was based off of the book. While he was reading his book, his mind then begins to linger towards his date with Kaneko. She was an interesting person, nothing like the rest, including Sona. He didn't want to get to know her, but he also wanted to help her. It was clear as she is suffering, he knew it had to do something with the past. He just wasn't sure what it was, but he wanted to help her. But his thoughts then comes to a halt when he feels like poke him. He ignores it, hoping the person will leave him be. After the person poked him 2 more times, he turned his head and sees a beautiful ravenet who looks very shy. He raised an eyebrow at the female. Hi, my name is Yuma Amano, said the ravenet, who's staring at Naruto with a heavy blush across her cheeks. Yuma is an attractive young woman with violet eyes, having a slender body. She had long silky black hair down to her hips. Her clothing consisted of a short black dress with a small, light purple jacket on top, and she wears purple flat shoes. Hi, I'm Naruto Uzumaki. Do I know you? Asked Naruto with a raised eyebrow. The girl didn't seem too familiar. Then again, he doesn't really pay the people from school any mind except Kaneko and Sona, but this girl he wasn't sure if he actually met her. The only female talking to besides Sona is Akano. He watches as Yuma shakes her negatively. No, you don't, but I've seen you around and I think why you're cute. I wanted to know, will you go out with me? Asked Yuma with her face becoming crimson red. Naruto's eyes went wide with shock at the female's claim. That was something he wasn't expecting. Actually, he didn't know what to expect from the female. Naruto then rubbed the back of his head in a nervous manner. You are attractive, said Naruto. Yuma beams at this. His eyes then turns away and a glint enters her eyes. He then turned back to her and the glint is gone. But I can't just go out with you, said Naruto. Yuma gains a saddened expression, but mentally she narrowed her eyes. And why won't you go out with me? Asked Yuma in a fake curious tone. Well, the thing is, I don't know you. I can't just date someone who I don't know. And I'm busy trying to do good in school and look for colleges, stated Naruto, hoping the female would understand his reasoning. He knew other men would just be like, forget about school and date Yuma, but he wasn't one of those type of people. So, he isn't a pervert like that Issei guy Calawarner had killed, and he seems more focused on his future. He won't have to worry for his future for very long, thought Yuma. She then smiles brightly at Naruto. She then grabs hold on his hand. Then, how about we get to know each other? You said you won't date someone you don't know, then I'll become you do know, and then I can call you my boyfriend tomorrow after school. I'll meet you at the student parking lot. We're going to have so much fun tomorrow, and here's my number, said Yuma, handing Naruto a piece of paper. Before he even have a chance to reject her request, she vanished from his sight. Well, damn, she can move when she wants, but who the hell is she? Thought Naruto. He then goes back to reading a book, but he can't help but to wonder why these women are getting involved in his life. First Sona, then Kaneko, and now this Yuma character. But unfortunately for him, he was unsure they truly were. But Naruto was thankful his head wasn't hurting and he didn't hear that strange voice in his head. But I should hurry up and get to my clinic. No doubt they need help, thought Naruto, who's now focused on the people he had helped for many years. The next day school went by fast. Nothing special happened except for the Issei and his friends being beaten with an inch of their life, but that wasn't new. Naruto walks past the blushing females that stare at him, but he ignores the girls and his eyes set on Yuma, who appears to be wearing a school uniform. Her school uniform, which consisted of a dark red jacket with the letter P embroidered in gold, a white undershirt, a red bow, and a green skirt with a thin white strip around the lower end of it. Okay, that's probably why I've never seen her, but even her uniform doesn't look familiar, thought Naruto. She smiles at him with a bright smile. "Hi Naruto-kun, I thought I would have to start looking for you," stated Yuma with a fake pout. He then rubbed the back of his neck. "You won't need to do that. So, where are we going?" wondered Naruto. While he may have been on a date on Saturday, he only knew where to take the whitenet due to him knowing her love for sweets, but here he has no idea what Yuma's interests are. She then grabs hold on his hand, causing him to blush in surprise. "How about a zoo? It's been so long since I've been there and it seems like a good choice so we can get to know each other," said Yuma. She then released her hold of his hand. She then hops on his bike. Naruto then takes out an extra helmet, at which Yuma puts it on. "Well, what are you waiting for, slowpoke?" wondered Yuma. Right. Let's go," said Naruto. He then puts on his own helmet, drives off, and the red-haired teen didn't notice Akano and Tsubaki watching from afar. Yuma smiles to herself. "Well, this was easy, but I must admit riding on this bike is fun. But I have a mission," thought the young female teen. The two made it to the zoo, at which Yuma smiled as she grabs his hand and the two enter inside of the zoo. As the two walk by multiple cages, she stops when she saw a flock of peacocks. Her eyes shine at the large birds. Naruto drugs his hands in his pockets and grins at her. "I take it you like them?" asked Naruto in a curious tone, but it was clear as day how much she liked the colorful birds. Yuma nods her head. "Yeah, I do. They're so pretty. Come on, I want to see the other birds," said Yuma, dragging Naruto by the hand with a smile, not a fake one but a true 100-watt smile. Her eyes shine even brighter as she stares at the owls. "They're so lucky," said Yuma. Naruto turned towards her. "They're free birds, allowed to go anywhere they want," said Yuma. "Yeah, I guess you're right, Yuma," said Naruto. She then turned towards him with a pout. Naruto raised an eyebrow at her. "Call me Yuma-chan," said Yuma, staring at the teen who's taller than her. Naruto rolled his eyes at the sweet girl. "How about we get some crepes instead?" advised Naruto. He wasn't going to call her Yuma-chan. After all, he hasn't called Sona-chan. "Hey!" exclaimed Yuma. She then grabs hold of Naruto's hands. After the two bought the crepes, they began walking around staring at the tigers, turtles, wolves, hyenas, and rhinos. The two then stopped at a cage containing a family. He snakes stare at Naruto with a curious gaze. He then begins to hear voices, not from the other person or within his mind, but from the snakes. His blue-colored eyes then changed into green serpent-like eyes. His crepe falls to the ground. No sooner does Naruto's legs give out on him, causing him crashing to the ground. "You have awakened young Gorgon," said the voice Naruto didn't hear due to everything around him feeling fussy. That voice, who was that? Where am I? Wondered Naruto, who's surrounded by darkness. The last thing he could remember was the voices of the snakes at the zoo, but that made no sense. This wasn't Harry Potter and people shouldn't be able to talk to animals. And it was that strange voice he keeps hearing once in his dream and now at the zoo. It said Gorgon? What the hell did it mean? Thought Naruto, but there was also something else that was bothering him, the strange feeling his scalp. He struggles to open his eyes after a few seconds of attempting to open his eyes. Once he finally has been able to open his eyes, his cerulean-colored eyes open as wide due to the fact he's laying on Yuma's lap with her large-size breast in his view. He turns his head to the side, avoiding to look at her breast. What are you doing? Stuttered Naruto as he can feel her hand run through his spiky locks. Yuma giggles at Naruto. Your hair is very smooth, Naruto-kun, smiled Yuma. She didn't know, but she couldn't help herself stroking his hair. She then runs her hand over his whiskers. She then giggles at the young teen, purring. What the hell? Why the fuck am I giggling like a fucking schoolgirl? I am a fallen angel, thought Yuma. She then gains a fake smile. You're just like a cute fox, Naruto-kun, beamed Yuma. Naruto blushes even harder. He attempts to get up but finds himself losing his balance. Yuma quickly grabs hold of Naruto. The redhead turns to the beautiful Ravenette. How long was I out? Asked Naruto. About an hour, said Yuma. His eyes went wide. She then smiles sweetly at him. How about I take you home? Asked Yuma. Naruto nods his head. The one good thing about this human is that he isn't a pervert. I really got lucky being assigned to him. Sorry, Calawarner, but there's no way in hell I'm going to pretend to be Issei's boyfriend, thought Yuma. While she and Calawarner were friends, she did not want to deal with Issei staring at her breast every 5 seconds. Sometime later, the two finds themselves in front of the Uzumaki residence. After hearing a knock, Kushina makes her way to the door. As she opens it, she sees her teenage son and a black-haired teen. Most mothers would be glad their son arrived home with a beautiful woman, but Kushina had another thought running through her head. Homewrecker, roared Kushina. She then grabs Naruto, bringing him to her side. What have you done to my son, you she-devil? I won't let you ruin my Naruto's life, Dadbeo, exclaimed Kushina, baring her fangs at Yuma. Yuma's sweat drop at the overprotected mother. That was a response she wasn't expecting. She didn't do anything. I collapse and she took me home, said Naruto. Kushina quickly turns to her son, staring into his blue eyes. Ka-chan, I'm fine, she's a good person, said Naruto. Kushina turns towards Yuma, glaring at the young female teen with eyes of a lioness. Yuma stares in shock as Naruto had called her a good person. It seems it has been forever anyone has ever called her good. When was the last time someone had called me good? Thought Yuma. She honestly didn't know why she even cared about this boy complimenting her. It made no sense to her. She had always been looking out for herself. Kushina glares at Yuma. Her crimson hair begins to move in an ominous manner, reflecting her angry emotion. Is what Naruto's saying true? Growled Kushina in a tone that promises nothing but pain. Why, yes, I saw him collapse and helped him back here, says Yuma. Kushina continues to glare at the ravenette female. She didn't know how, but the human was quite intimidating. Why the hell does I feel the need to plead my case? Thought Yuma. She's a fallen angel who always faced constant death, but this woman was intimidating her. She then glances back at her son, then back at Yuma. Fine, you can take my son to his room, but if you try to defile my Naru-chan, I'll skin you alive and use the remains to make a new broom, growled Kushina. Naruto blushes in embarrassment. Just take me to my room, mutters Naruto. He honestly wishes his mother wasn't as protective as she was. Tsunade wasn't even this protective of him. Yuma nods her and helps the tattooed teen upstairs. The black-haired girl sighs as she feels Kushina's eyes glaring at her back. Sorry, she's a little protective of me, mutters Naruto with a heavy sigh. A little? That's an understatement. This woman is possessive of him, thought Yuma. She then smiles at him. It's okay, says Yuma. As they enter his room, she notices his room was neat. Even the bookshelf was organized. She looks around, sees a photo of a young Naruto and his parents. She saw his mother, but she didn't see or sense his father. She looks at Naruto. How has his arm covering his face? Where's your dad? I didn't see or hear him. Is he at work? Asked a curious Yuma. She quickly notices how stiff he became. It would be impossible not to notice how fast his hand tightened. Accident, says Naruto. It was clear he didn't want to talk about it. Yuma guessed she could have figured that on her own. He always talks about his mother but never brings up his father. She guesses he wasn't so perfect after all. Her eyes then narrowed. Well, that explains why his mother is like this, thought Yuma. Even when this new information still makes her target better than that Issel. Naruto smiles at her. Thank you for today, Yuma. You don't tell anyone this. It's a memory I can't forget, says Naruto. His eyes turn hollow, shocking her. There the human goes, complimenting her, and of course he wasn't talking about her looks but her personality, or to be more precise, the fake Yuma. Out of instinct, she pats his head. Her purple-colored eyes stare in amazement at how soft his red hair is. She lets out a sigh. What the hell am I doing? Mutters Yuma. She looks down at Naruto and noticing he's asleep, a cold runs through her. She looks back at the door, lets out an audible gulp. Kushina stares at her with burning fury. Before she can even get a word, Kushina grabs her by the face and lifts her up with one hand, shocking Yuma of the woman's monster strength. And stay out, she devil, yelled Kushina as she literally threw Yuma out of the house. As Naruto dreams, he finds him completely in total darkness. Suddenly a black and gold serpent with crimson horns appears in front of him. He can clearly see his teeth, and they would be better suited for a dragon. Ah, we meet at last, my partner, grinned the serpent, showing his dragonic fangs. WWH, what are you? Asked Naruto. His eyes widened. He heard this voice before. Ah, finally recognized me. Took you long enough. I am a sacred gear, a gift from God. For now, you can call me World Eater. Warudo-ita. For now, says Warudo-ita. Suddenly Naruto has pushed out the mindscape. He wakes up in his room. While he is a logical person, whatever is going on with him can't possibly he realistically explain. He releases a loud groan. This had only given him a reason to search for the answers. With feeling more frustrated, he buries himself under the covers. The next day Naruto is at the table, nearly finished with his breakfast. He doesn't even pay attention to the knocking on the door. When Kushina opened the door and glares at the smiling Yuma. What do you want? Demanded Kushina. Yuma stares at her with a sweat drop on the side of her. Save Kami. This woman is relentless, thought Yuma. She smiles at the mother. I wanted to walk to school with him, says Yuma. Kushina stares at her with a suspicious glare. Tisk. Wait here, said Kushina, slamming the door on her. Yuma stares at the door with a dumbstruck look. Naruto. That girl is here, exclaims Kushina. She doesn't even bother to remember my name. Though Yuma. The door once again opens. Naruto carry his motorcycle helmet. Morning, Naruto-kun, says Yuma, hoping to get to ride his bike. Morning, you Kaneko. exclaimed Naruto in shock. Kaneko? Replied a confused Yuma. She turns her head and sees the petite white-net both fallen angel and devil stare at each other with a dumbfounded look. What the fuck is she doing here? Thought Yuma. She quickly shakes off the utter shock and replaces it with a fake smile. Who are you? Underclassman? Asked Yuma. Kaneko stares at her with a blank look, but inside she was freaking out. Kaneko, I want to go to school with Naruto, says Kaneko. I'm Yuma. I'm sorry, but Naruto-kun and I are going to school together, says Yuma. Both girls stare at each other. Naruto sighs at the bickering of the two girls. Well, we can't all ride my bike, says Naruto. Both girls turn to him with a twinkle in their eyes. Me and my big mouth, grumbled Naruto. Instead of taking his bike, they walk to school with each girl holding on each arm. He sighs as he feels numerous angry eyes on him. First Kaneko-sama, and now this hot chick, grumbled a boy. Another boy cries tears of anger. Damn pretty, groans a teen. Uzumaki is so lucky, says a teen. No fair. I want Kaneko to hold me like that, a boy. This is so bullshit, yelled a teen. I'll die for you, Kaneko-chan, yells a fanboy. Maybe this wasn't such a good idea, mutters Naruto as he's everyone's main target of interest throughout the whole day. In every period everyone stares at him. By the third period most of the students knew about Yuma and Kaneko clinging to him. With the final bell, he leaves the room and groans tiredly. Don't worry Naruto, this your last year. Thought Naruto. The sooner he graduates the sooner he doesn't have to deal with the idiots of the school. Outside of the school, he sees a patient Yuma waiting for him. Yuma, what are you doing here? Asked a surprised Naruto. Many of the open-minded boys stares at her. She pouts at him. I told you to call me Yuma-chan, and I wanted to walk home with you, says Yuma. Naruto didn't get to say anything as she leads him into town clinging to his arm, causing Naruto to blush from afar. A pouting Kaneko watches in dissatisfaction. Yuma smiles brightly at the red-haired teen. Let's go eat, says Yuma. But I was going to study, says Naruto. He also purposely left the fact that he goes to this homeless spot to help people. Yuma pouts at him. But I want to have fun, exclaims Yuma. He sighs in defeat. She brightens at this, snuggles against his arm with a calm look. Many of the adults look the two in awe and mistaking them for a couple. Yuma looks up at Naruto. Your mom doesn't like me, states Yuma. I think she's starting to warm up to I mean when she saw you at the door she didn't just slam the door on you, so that's something. It could have been worse, says Naruto. Really? Asked Yuma, blinking at him in a cutesy manner. Naruto nods his head. She could have used her bat, says Naruto. Yuma shivers at the thought of the female redhead. The woman could easily lift her up with one hand and she didn't want to test the theory out. Naruto lets out a low chuckle. Yeah, she's pretty strong, says Naruto. Yuma releases a low chuckle. Well, that's an understatement of the century. That woman is probably a descendant of a devil. I wouldn't be surprised if that monster fought a bear just for the shits and giggles, thought Yuma. She mentally lets out a sigh. What the hell am I doing playing the good girl? I need to hurry up, thought Yuma as the two enter the small restaurant that sells hot plates. She smiles at Naruto. This place is really good. Trust me Naruto-kun, you'll like it, says Yuma as they sat down. She orders a beef hot plate and Naruto orders an order of salmon. It took a while for them to get their order. Once they finally got their food, she watches as he cooks his meat. Once it's cooked right, he eats it. Yuma chuckles at the glint in his eyes. Told you, giggled Yuma. She then stops her giggling as she hears munching. She turns her head and sees Kaneko munching on her second serving. How long have you been there? Asked Yuma. The short teenagers takes a bite of steak. A few minutes, says Kaneko. Unknown to both human and fallen angel, she had been tailing them since they left school. Not even Rias knows that she is here. For some reason she didn't like how Yuma clung on to him. Maybe it was because she knew who she was. Of course, it could have been because he was the only one that actually treated her like a normal person. She blushes at the thought of her time with Naruto. Yuma's eyebrow twitched in annoyance at the girl. What the hell, she's been here the whole time. How the fuck did I not notice? It's okay. Just need to play it cool, thought Yuma. She continues to eat the food. She then stops eating as she feels Kaneko staring at her. What? Asked Yuma. I want to sit next to Naruto, says Kaneko. But I'm sitting here, says Yuma. Don't care, I want to sit there, states Kaneko. The two females glare at each. If you look closer you can see electricity in both their eyes as they have a stare down. Naruto turns to Yuma, sighs loudly. Let Kaneko sit there, I don't see a problem with it, says Naruto. Yuma pouts at him and rises to her feet. As both Yuma and Kaneko glare at her, She holds up a peace sign which greatly angers her. With Kaneko now sitting next to Naruto, she stares at him with an innocent look. He smiles down at her. "How was your day?" asked Naruto. "Good, but math is evil," says Kaneko. "Well, I can help you if you want," asks Naruto. Kaneko nods her head at a rapid pace, causing him to smile. Yuma stares at Kaneko with an irritated look. "Maybe the people from school aren't so bad," thought Naruto. After 3 more servings, he was full of. Each of the students' bellies full. They pay for their own bill. Naruto then decides to walk her home, and Kaneko decides to tag along, not trusting the busty woman. Even as they left, the two continued to glare each other. Naruto can't help but wonder when the two will stop glaring at each other. "Incoming partner," yells Warudoida. Deciding to listen to his sacred gear, he tackles both girls to the ground and narrowly dodging the spear that was thrown at them. "What the hell was?" exclaimed a confused Naruto. "That would be me, little human," says Donasek. Naruto looks up in the night sky and sees Donasek flying. The fallen angel chuckles at the teen. He turns to Yuma. "I see you took your time, Rainier." "No matter, I'll kill this brat and the devil bitch," grinned the fallen angel. He chucks the blue light spear at Naruto, but his left arm glows purple, revealing an armored scaled snakehead. The armored gauntlet is black and purple with 4 crimson-colored horns protruding from the head. The eyes are colored a metallic maroon. On the top of its head is a small gold-colored gem. The snake mouth opens up and swallows the light spear, shocking the supernatural. People stare in shock. "WHWH, what the hell? Is this my arm?" exclaimed a confused Naruto. If the fallen angel wasn't strange enough, then his arm transforming was just straight up confusing. The fallen angel charges at him with blinding speed and appears in front of him and backhanded slaps him, which tosses him against a tree. "Don't get ahead of yourself. You're still just a pathetic human," gloats Donasek. He creates another light spear, but before he could throw the weapon, he's punched in the gut by Kaneko. Rainier throws a light spear at his shoulder, which had tossed him through a tree. While he's distracted, "Extend your arm out and say Hydra Flash, Hidasha," says the serpent. "Right, Hydra Flash, Hidasha," exclaims Naruto. The snakehead opens up and fires a purple shot that hits Donasek in the chest. The fallen angel grabs his chest in pain. "Damn it, that sacred gear can absorb energy and release it back even stronger. I need to kill him now," thought Donasek. He knocks both girls to the side. Each girl runs after him as he creates a huge spear. Rainier throws several light spears at him, but Donasek doesn't even seem Inti's spears had pierced him. He glares at Naruto with a bloodthirsty grin. Naruto's blue eyes then morphed into green snake-like eyes. Suddenly Donasek turns to stone before their very eyes. "What the hell just happened? Why does Yuma have wings? What the fuck is going on?" yells Naruto. He turns to the girls, wanting some answers. Both girls sigh, knowing they can't lie their way out of the situation, especially when Naruto had just awakened his sacred gear and turned Donasek to stone. Kaneko lets out a defeated sigh and her black leather wings sprouts from her back. "I'm a devil and she's a fallen angel," says Kaneko. Right and thing?" asked Naruto, pointing to his arm. "That is a sacred gear which is known as God's artifacts, or items with powerful abilities bestowed upon humans by God of the Bible, and you possess a Longinus, which are unique top-tier sacred gears, each having multiple abilities compared to a normal sacred gear which only has one, and has the power to slay gods. This class of sacred gears is also known as the tool that destroys God. There are 13 Longinus in total," says Rainier. Naruto scratches the back of his head in confusing. These gears sacred are powerful items sealed in people's body by God," replied Naruto. Both girls nod their heads. Naruto's eyes turn to Rainier. "Wait a minute, he called you Rainier. Who are you?" questioned the red-haired human. Rainier sighs loudly. Her whole body glows brightly. She then looks far more mature and wearing revealing leather clothes. Even her face looked completely sexual. She then uses her wings to lift her off a few feet from the ground. "My real name is Rainier, and what the midget said is true. I'm a fallen angel just like Donasek here," says Rainier, pointing down at the broken pieces of Donasek. Kaneko looks down at herself with an annoyed look. She then points at Rainier. "She was ordered to kill you," says Kaneko, leaving Naruto and Rainier. She was more shocked that the little girl would straight up snitch on her. Naruto turns to her. "Is that true?" asked Naruto. "Yes, but that was before. I can't possibly return back. They'll kill me," says Rainier. "Okay, bye," says Kaneko coldly. Rainier grits her teeth in annoyance. "Fuck off, the stupid cat," yelled Rainier. "Dirty turkey," insulted Kaneko, narrowing her eyes at Rainier. "Dwarf," yelled Rainier. Kaneko's eyebrow twitches. "Cow udders," growled Kaneko. Rainier looks as if someone had just kicked her dog. She then grins mischievously. She then begins to play with her large breast, causing Naruto's face to turn a deep scarlet. Kaneko pouts in annoyance. Jealous brat? Don't worry, I'm sure someday you grow out of your training bra. Don't worry, I'll keep Naruto-kun warm, says Rainier. She turns and winks at Naruto. This had only turned him into a stuttering mess. Grandma boobs, says an angry Kaneko. Rainier then pokes Kaneko in the face, causing her to step back. Now, listen here, middle schooler, just stop, exclaims Naruto, causing the two girls to stop their insult match. He then rubs his eyes. I just almost got killed tonight and I'm going home, says Naruto. Rainier flies above him. I'll walk home with you, says Rainier. Kaneko appears by his side and grabs hold of his hand. No, I will. Flying turkey, insulted Kaneko. As the two glare at each other, Naruto lets out a sigh. He had no idea what he got himself involved with, but it would be nothing like his current life. 2 days have passed since the Donaseek thing. He had seemed like everything had started to go back to normal, but Naruto would often practice with Warudo-ita. He also hadn't seen Rainier or Kaneko, which shocked him, but just like every other morning, Naruto is eating his mom's homemade waffles and French toast. The duo then hears the doorbell. Kushina opens to the door and stares at the whitenet with a curious look. And are you? Asked Kushina. She had to admit it, this girl is pretty cute. I'm Kaneko Taju, Naruto-senpai's underclassman, says Kaneko. Kushina narrows her eyes at Kaneko. Come in, said Kushina in a wary tone. Kaneko just nods her head and follows the mother. She followed Kushina to the kitchen where Naruto is eating. She smiles at him. Naruto, do you know this girl? Asked Kushina. Naruto turns to his mother and stares in shock. Why yeah, she's my underclassman, says Naruto. Kushina hums to herself. She then places her hand on Kaneko's head. Fine, I'll allow this friendship, but if you try to play patty cake with my son, I'll skin your ass alive and pour pounds of salt on you, threatened Kushina. Kaneko shivers in fear. Later that evening, Naruto had just finished with his last patient, with everyone leaving, heading to a new location to sleep. Naruto had just finished putting away the medicine. With the loud sound of a bang, Naruto grabs his shoulder in pain as he was just shot. Kukakuku. Take that, you stupid brat, grinned Freed. He then shots Naruto several times, causing the boy to scream in pain. Freed then appears in front of him and gives him a left punch. With Naruto laying on the ground, Freed stomps on his face. Ahaha, now die, filthy devil, lover, yells Freed, stabbing Naruto in the gut, causing him to throw up blood. I can't believe Donaseek let this talentless brat kill him, laughed the insane man. As the man vanished in the night, Naruto begins to cry. I don't want to die. It'll just make mom sad. There's still so much I want to do, cried Naruto. He then begins to coughing blood. His vision then becomes hazy. Suddenly a red magic circle appears, but his eyes were already closed. He then hears someone calling out his name that sounds like Kaneko, mumbled Kaneko. Kaneko rushes over to Naruto, cradling his head on her lap. Rias, bucko, we were too late, cried a saddened Kaneko. Rias stares at Kaneko in shock. She wasn't expecting to get such a reaction from Kaneko. She knew her petite friend. She knew what she had to do. From what Kaneko had told her, has a powerful sacred gear, so she knew one pawn wouldn't work, so she used all her pawn pieces, turning him into a devil. Time skip. The next morning, Naruto groans in pain. His eyes then open wide as he realizes he's awake in his bed and not dead. He also quickly realized that someone else in his bed. He turns and stares into the eyes of a nude Rias, who has a sly grin. He then grabs her by the shoulders. She raises an eyebrow at him. You gotta get the hell out, girl, says Naruto. She stares at him in shock. My name is Rias Gremory and I'm part of I Don't Care. You gotta leave now, says Naruto, getting up from the bed and puts some pants. He then shoves her clothes Rias's lap. She pouts at her fellow redhead. Well, that's, says Rias. Is that a girl I hear? Growled Kushina, as she steps closer and closer to the door, begins to freak out. He knew if his mother found this girl in his room, she would kill them both. Sure, this redhead girl, but that wouldn't stop his mother. No, this will only encourage to create new ways for Kushina to kill this Rias girl. Seeing no other real option, he shoves her out the window. She stares shocked, not believing she has just pushed out the window. Kaneko had told her about his mom. She thought Kaneko was just joking about how protective she is of Naruto. Kushina comes barging in his room wielding a bat. Where is she? Asked Kushina, looking around his room. He watches as she looks under the bed. She looks at the ceiling. Who? Lied Naruto. I heard a girl, says Kushina. She looking through his closet. She narrows her eyes and looks out of the window, but she didn't see anyone. I know I heard someone, exclaims Kushina. Mom, no one here. Can you please put the bat down, pleads Naruto. She lets out a sigh. She then hugs Naruto. Fine, get ready for school, says Kushina. She then lets out a defeated sigh. I could have sworn I heard a girl's voice. But don't you worry Naru-chan, I'll protect you from those horning teenage harlots. I won't allow any of those girls ruin my son's future, exclaimed Kushina. Sometime during lunch, Naruto buries his head at his desk. He soon came to realize ever since he into Kaneko his life had been becoming a the hell was that girl. Thought Naruto maybe if he just closed his eyes, but that doesn't seem to be working as he hears the other students begin whispering among themselves. He then released a sigh as he feels someone tapping his shoulder. He turns and sees Rias Gremory standing before him. Crap. It's that weird girl, thought Naruto. Rias smiles at him in a friendly manner. Can we talk? Asked Rias. Naruto just nods his head. As they exit the classroom, Naruto turns to her with a bow. I'm sorry, pushing out the window, miss. Apologize Naruto. It's okay. Kaneko-chan told me how aggressive your mom can be, says Rias. She then smiles at him. By the way, my name is Rias Gremory, says Rias. Naruto nods his head, but that doesn't mean he doesn't feel guilty about pushing her out of a window. He then turns to her with a confused expression. So, Rias, where are we going? Asked the tattoo teen. He then glances at a few students and notices the males of school look at him with jealousy. He turns away from them and turns to his fellow redhead. He notices the smile she's wearing seems to be forced, which confuses him greatly. To my clubroom, of course. You do have some questions? Asked Rias. All Naruto could do was a nod his head. Later that day, Naruto rubs eyes and drinks the coffee made by Akeno. Ever she had told him about the war and the system of the devil pieces. Naruto looks as if his brain had been short-circuited. I know this can be overwhelming, says Rias. Overwhelming isn't the word I would use, thought Naruto. Sitting next is Kaneko, who is stuffing her face. She then offers him a piece of cake, which he gladly accepts the dessert. He then glares at Rias. How do you know I can trust you? From what you said, these other devils treat their peerage like slaves. How can I trust you won't do the same? Questioned Naruto. She can understand why he seems so on edge. Many of her friends had acted the same when she resurrected them into devils. I can assure you the Gremory clan treats their peerage as family, says Rias. Naruto still looks uncertain about joining this girl peerage and being involved in a war that lasted for many decades. He also didn't like the idea of being someone's slave. Kaneko turns to him and smiles. Naruto smiles back at her. You said the fallen angels are after me because what's sealed in me, right? Asked Naruto. Rias nods her head while Akeno and Kiba looked at Naruto with a curious gaze. Rias nods her head. Then would they to go after my mom to get to me? Asked Naruto with a serious look. Yes, I wouldn't put it pasted them to go after your mom. You may have killed Donaseek, but without proper training, you stand no match, says Rias. He would rather leave this room and pretend this meeting never happened, but he knew these fallen angels won't give up anytime soon. He also couldn't allow his mom to get involved in this. Fine, but I won't join your club. I'm busy with other things, says Naruto. Rias smiles at this. He then rises to his feet and glares at her. But if you start treating me like a slave, I'll end you, threatened Naruto. As he leaves the room, Akeno snickers. She then turns to her best friend. We've got an interesting little pawn, joked Akeno with a blush. Just as Naruto gets ready to mount his bike, he's tackled by Rainier. Naruto-kun, I miss you, exclaimed Rainier. She nuzzles against him. Naruto pats her on the back. Where you been? Asked Naruto. Looking for a new base. I couldn't go back to the old one, says Rainier. Naruto sweat drops at the busty fallen angel who's clinging to him. Well, she isn't wrong. Going back will be suicidal, thought Naruto. With his newly devil status, has only encountered 3 fallen angels, and they don't seem to be the type to just sit and listen to reason. They seem to be the type attack first. From what Rias had told him, fallen angels had fallen because they committed some type of sin. It was obvious Rainier had committed some type of sin, but he wasn't about to ask her what sin she did. He had a feeling it was a subject you shouldn't bring up. Plus, whatever caused her fell was her own business. She also didn't seem too bad. She did save him after all, so she couldn't be that bad. She then pulls away from him and smiles at him. Also, there's something I need to tell you, says Rainier. He quickly notices her eyes look saddened. Red-haired teen looked concerned at the Ravenet. He tilts his head in confusion. Okay, what is it? Asked the confused pawn. He watches as she takes a deep I think it's better if I show you, says Rainier. She then hops onto his bike. Naruto scratched his head in confusion. But can't you fly? Asked Naruto. She nods her head. But your bike is so cool. exclaims Rainier. Plus this gives her chance to wrap her arms around the redhead hunk and she didn't need to worry about that Neko trying to take his attention. Naruto just shrugged his shoulders. Getting on the bike, he blushes a deep red that matches his own hair as he can feel Rainere's large breast. Unknown to them, another redhead was watching from the window. She then pouts at the two. She then hears giggling. She turns. Kame sees Akano giggling at her best friend. Fufu, is Rias jealous the fallen angels that she close to our new pawn? You know, I heard he kicked you of a widow future. Oh, I would like to see the look on your face, giggled Akano with cheeks turning pink in color. Will he punish me too, I wonder? Says Akano. Rias shook her head at her best friend, although she can see why Kaneko and Rainier seemed to be attached to the red-haired Uzumaki. He was kind, friendly, smart, and it was also handsome too, and unlike most guys at school, he wasn't a pervert. She then glances at Akano, and it won't be long before Sona gets Issel, says Rias. Akano nods her head. She then gains a concerned look at her friend, worrying about the heiress. It getting close to that day. Pervert scumbag, says Kaneko in disgust, causing both teens to laugh at the petite girl. Akano, Kaneko, it's time we begin training. We've been holding off training for far too long, says Ross. Both girls nod their heads in agreement. While Rias was making plans to train her peerage, Naruto and Rainier drove to an abandoned shrine. A shrine, smart, not as obviously as an abandoned church, but this could be a good place, says Naruto. He raised an eyebrow as he watches a young blonde girl exit out of the shrine, but just as she walks out of the shrine she trips over her own 2 feet, causing Naruto sweat drop at her. He then looked away as her dress flies up. Naruto then turns to Rainier. Rainier, who is this nun? Asked Naruto. From what he can tell, she didn't give off the same type of that Rias or Rainier have off, so it was safe to assume she was human. Right, this is Asia Argento. She belonged to church until she was kicked out for unknowingly healed a devil. My superior posed as an angel and sent her here to steal her sacred gear, says Rainier. She turns from Naruto and watches as Asia pick herself up. She then bows to Rainier. She smiles at Rainier in an innocent manner. She then turns to look at Naruto in confusion. Hello sir. My name is Asia Argento. Who might you be? Asked a curious Asia, who smiles in an innocent manner, but everything about this girl seemed innocent and pure. It probably was because she was a nun. Fortunately, she wasn't one of those nuns that abused their power, but she was far too young to be one of those type of people. Then again, there doesn't seem to a single angry bone in this girl. For some reason he can already tell this girl couldn't even lie to save her life. Naruto smiles warmly at the petite blonde nun. He then bows to the young nun. Hello sister. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, but you can call me Naruto, says the Uzumaki. He then points his thumbs towards the beautiful black-haired female. I'm a friend of Rainier, says Naruto, smiling at Rainier, who blushes at him. Asia smiles warmly at him with her green eyes staring at him from wonder. Wow. Rainier-sama has told me you're a very kind person. She says you help people too. I'm happy to finally meet you, Uzumaki-san, says Asia. When she first met people at the abandoned church were bad people. She then took her to the shrine and said it was a safe place. She even told her much about Naruto, how he helps people need. Naruto rubs the back of his head, blushing in embarrassment, not used to praise. He lets out a nervous chuckle. Thank you Asia, but you can just call me Naruto, says Naruto with a smile. Asia stares in shock. Wait, are you sure that's alright? Isn't that too formal? Asked an unsure Asia. Naruto just waves off the girl. Nah, it's fine, I don't mind, says Naruto with a smile. He then raised an eyebrow at her. She twiddled her fingers. She even seems unsure about herself. Can I make a request? Asked the nun. She watches as he nods her head. Asia's eyes turns to her feet before she stares at his whiskered face. Can we be friends? Asked Asia in a nervous manner. Okay, wasn't expecting this, thought the male. He then smiles at her. He then pats the girl on her head. Sure, I don't see anything wrong with us being friends, says Naruto. Her smile widened, even her eyes begin to sparkle. Really? You'll actually be my friend? Exclaims the innocent. He quickly raised an eyebrow at the girl. Didn't you have friends at the church you lived at? Asked a confused Naruto. He was sure a sweet and nice girl like Asia had tons of friends. Asia smiles sadly at him. Actually no, I've never had a friend. Back at the church in Italy no one really talked to. They were always wary of me because of my gift. You see, God gave me the ability to heal. Even though my life has been hard, I know it's just God trusting me. After all, he lead me to you and Rainier-sama, says a smiling Asia. Her smile vanished as she sees Naruto in pain. Are you okay? Asked a concerned Asia. Why yeah, just a small headache, says Naruto as his head hurts from her saying God's name just like Rias had told him he would feel pain if he hears God's name. Note to self: never use his name. Thought Naruto. Rainier looks at Naruto with concern, full well knowing about the devil's weakness, and she knew his head must feel like it's ready to split wide open. Rainier smiles at Asia and "No, you have two friends," says Rainier. Asia then begins to cry, but these are tears are not. She pats Asia on the head. "Come on, Asia, there's no need to cry," says Rainier. "But, I'm so happy. I've never thought I would ever have not one but two friends. I've always dreamed of having friends and going on a picnic," cried a happy Asia. "And I'll introduce you to someone so you can have more than two friends," says Rainier. "Wait, really?" asked an ecstatic Asia. "Her name is Middlet. She's around your age," lied Rainier. Middlet was actually around a few thousand years old, but she still has the appearance of a small child. "Is she a fallen angel too?" asked Naruto. Rainier nods her head. "Well, I guess and could have guessed that doesn't really sound like a name anyone would really have. She's still just a kid. She was manipulated into working with Kokabeel," says Rainier. She then turns to Asia. "I'm sure you and her would make good friends," smiled Rainier. Suddenly they each had a growl, both devil and fallen angel. Then to Asia, whose stomach growls again, causing the two to laugh. The blonde girl blushes. Naruto smiles at this. "How about we get something to eat?" says Naruto. Rainier turns to Naruto. "What you have in mind, burgers?" asked Rainier. He shook his head. "Nope, something better." "Ramen," grinned Naruto. "Ramen?" asked a confused Rainier. "Ramen? What's that?" asked Asia, leaving the girl confused. "Wait, you don't know what's ramen?" questioned Naruto. She shook her head negatively. He then grabs her hand, causing her to blush. "Okay, this is now a matter of security now," exclaimed Naruto. He then drags her to his bike. He then gets on his bike. "Come on, Asia, hop on," says Naruto. "But I've never been on one of those before," says Asia. She then turns to Rainier. "But what about Rainier-sama? There isn't enough room," says a saddened Asia. "It's fine, I have my own way," says Rainier. Two black wings sprout from her back. Asia looks amazed. Asia then nervously gets onto the bike, wrapping her small arms around him. She then lets out an representative as they drive off, causing her to hold him tight. Rainier then pouts as she watches the two drive off. She then gains a serious expression as she floats above higher in the sky, glaring at the abandoned church. She knew she couldn't allow someone like Kokabeel to get his hands on Asia, plus she knew Kokabeel was just using them for his own gain. The only ones who were loyal to him were Freed and Calawarner. She knew she had to warn her superior, since it was against the law for them to harm a human with a sacred gear, and the fact that he has interest in Asia, plus with having fallen angels here in Gremory and Sidir territory, could cause another war, and that's the last thing they needed. "I guess I'll have to talk to Rias," thought Rainier. She then signs, knowing this really can't wait, meaning she couldn't join Naruto and Asia, which caused her to pour. She then smiles, realizing this also means Kaneko isn't with him. While Rainier was flying over to the Devil's Clubhouse, Naruto and Asia were enjoying ramen at a local, especially Asia, since she never had ramen, especially real ramen, and not that instant ramen you would find at a food market. The nun hums in enjoyment as she tastes the broth from her pork ramen. She smiles brightly at Naruto, who blushes in response, not used to such a cute girl smiling at him. While both Kaneko and Rainier were fighting for his attention, he's still used to having females around, especially ones that are as beautiful as Rainier and as cute as Asia and Kaneko. He smiles at her. "I'm glad you like it, Asia. It's actually my favorite food. My Ka-chan would make it for me on special occasions," says Naruto. "Ka-chan?" repeated the confused nun. He nods his head. "Oh, that's right, you're from Italy." "AKA Chan means mom," says Naruto. She then gains an understanding expression. He honestly couldn't believe she didn't know what ramen or hamburger was. Asia really lived a shelter life, thought Naruto. He honestly couldn't imagine not knowing what ramen and hamburgers. It only made him wonder what other things she was naive about. He definitely couldn't handle living at a church. He'll go insane with how strict they are, and some of them have narrowed minds, believing their religion is superior. Asia looks at him with confusion, seeing him stop eating his ramen. "Hey Asia, how would you like to do this again and try some other food?" asked Naruto. Plus she does seem lonely, and he wanted to make sure she wouldn't feel alone. "I like that a lot," says Asia. The two then begins to eat their food. Even though she had just met Naruto, she could already tell he was kind. She felt blessed that she met such a nice person, even though she is saddened that the church kicked her out. But at least she met Rainier and Naruto, two kind people, and Rainier promised she'll have another friend too, and she couldn't be happier. "I don't think I've ever been more happier. I hope we can stay friends," thought Asia with a smile. She was also hoping she can ride his bike too. "Thank you, Naruto," says Asia. "For what?" asked Naruto. For being my friend and treating me to this delicious meal, I'm truly to be blessed to have met someone like you. I would like to repay you, please. Is there anything I can do? Asked the young girl. Naruto rubs the back of his head trying to think. He then gains a grin on his fan face. You said you can heal, right? Asked the red-haired teen. The blonde nun nods her head, causing Naruto to smile widened, making him look like a grinning fox. I think I have an idea, says Naruto. Asia looks on in wonder. Back at the Occult Research Club, Rias looks at Reiner with suspension, with Akeno staring at Reiner with hidden anger. Of course Reiner isn't surprised the two are wary of her. She did originally plan to kill Naruto. The best thing to do is not anger Rias, since she could be reduced to dust thanks to Rias's destruction magic, which literally destroys anything it touches, and she wasn't arrogant. John handle red-haired woman's destruction magic. Thank you for seeing me, Rias-sama, says Reiner. It's no problem, but why did you want to meet with me? Asked Rias. She didn't hide the fact she didn't trust the fallen angel. This caused to sign. Well, at least they aren't throwing lightning and destruction spells, so that's at least good, thought Reiner. She then mentally shakes her head. It would do no good if she was thinking negatively. As you and Sona sit here, the fallen angels had invaded your territory. What you might not know is why, but I'm sure you know they wish to kill Naruto-kun and that pervert Issei. But what you might not know is they're after Asia Argento. She was a nun of church before she was kicked out of the church, says Reiner. She watches as Rias's eyes narrowed at the mention of the fallen angel's goal to kill both Naruto and Issei. She honestly didn't care about the little pervert. She heard that he was reincarnated by Sona, and she felt sorry for the Sidir heiress. Dealing with a huge pervert like Issei is a mission on its own. Why was this Asia kicked out of the church, and why are they after her? Asked Rias. From what she told me, she was banished because she healed a devil, but Asia is a very innocent girl. If she can, she'll heal anyone, even if they're the enemy of the church. She also wields the sacred gear Two-Light Healing, has the ability to heal humans and angels as well as other supernatural beings such as devils and fallen angels, says Reiner. To be able to heal devil and fallen angels, that does seem amazing. I take it they wish to use her, Asia, to make themselves stronger? Asked Rias. The gears in her brain start moving. Not only had they invaded in her territory, but they are killing humans and even try to kill her and Sona's pawns. Such an act could cause a war. Reiner nods her head. Yes, they believe with Two-Light Healing they can kill both devil and angels, and the one who organized this is Kokabiel. He left me in charge, but since I betrayed him, Calawarner is in charge, says Reiner. Both Rias and Akeno stare in shock at hearing the one who organized these fallen angels was Kokabiel, one of the strongest of them. But why start all this trouble now? Asked Rias. Reiner eyes narrowed. War. Kokabiel was never satisfied with how it ended. He always believed we should have won. I will offer my help in dealing with these fallen angels. An exorcist. I just have one request, says Reiner. Hearing that Reiner has a request causes both young females to look each other in curiosity. And what might this request be? Asked a cautious Rias. To spare a middle, she's just a kid. She only agreed to this plan because she thought this will gain her access back to heaven. If I must, I'll even become one of your pieces, says Reiner with a bow, shocking the two, never expecting a fallen angel to now to Rias. You would really become a devil just to save Middle? Asked a shocked Rias. Yes, she's been like a little sister to me. I'll do anything to protect, just please spare her, asked Reiner. Very well, Reiner, says Rias, but inside she was smiling. She definitely wasn't expecting this to happen, but she sure wasn't about to deny the chance of getting another piece. But speaking of Asia, where is she? Asked a curious Rias. Reiner smiles at this. Naruto is treating her to ramen, and you know something she never heard of even had ramen, says Reiner. Hearing this caused Akeno to giggle. Well, isn't that amusing? She seems to live a very sheltered life, giggled Akeno. She did think it was cute that someone never heard of ramen, since it wasn't extravagant or rare like some food. Rias turns to her best friend. Can you do me a favor and pick them up? The last thing we need is an exorcist attacking either one, says Rias. Plus she was worried about her new devil. Since he is a newly made devil, the fallen angels will try to kill him when he's still a fresh devil. Yes, of course bucko, said Akeno. She then teleports away to his location, which was where he goes to help the homeless. You would expect to see Naruto and Asia taking care of the homeless, but no, what she saw a bloodbath with various of people dead in the cold ground. Some had bullet holes while others had their limbs cut off. She looks around searching for the two. She found them. She saw Asia standing behind Naruto, who is protecting her from an exorcist. Naruto pants heavily. He glares at the exorcist, pouring his snakescale arm at the man. Naruto grits his teeth as blood drops from his mouth. It seemed when he was fighting the rogue exorcise had been shot a few times just before the exorcist can shot another light bullet. A magic circle appears around the two protecting them from the bullets. Both stare in shock. Even the exorcist looked shocked. The man look on in anger. What? A magic barrier, snarled the man. Who dares interfere with the work of the Lord? Growled the man in anger. Tsubaki flies down, glares at the man. You are in violation, exorcist. This territory belongs to the Gremory and Sidir family, said Tsubaki in a cold turn. She glances at the injured Naruto before focusing on the man. The man aims his gun at her. Fucking die, devil trash, snarled the man. Fufu, that's no way to speak to a lady, says Akeno, flying down. She looks at Naruto with concern before turning her focus on the man. Lightning then dances around her fingers while Tsubaki's naginata is covered fire. Before the man can even pull the trigger, he's turned to ash as lightning and fire burns him. The queens of Rias and Sona turns to see Naruto passed out. Seeing the two no longer in danger, she drops the barrier. They then watch in amazement as a crying Asia heals his wounds. Rainier wasn't lying when she said Asia can heal, thought Akeno as she watches the wounds quickly closed, you as if he was never hurt. Asia cries over the knocked Uzumaki. Please, Naruto, be okay, cried the young girl. Both Akeno and Tsubaki kneel down to her. Asia holds him close to her. Who are you? Asked a scared Asia. Both women smile at her in a friendly manner. They couldn't really blame her. She did just witnessed a massacre. It's okay. The both of you are safe. We're friends of Rainier, says Akeno. Asia then looks on in shock. We can take the both of you somewhere safe. Would you like that? Asked Akeno. Asia nods her head, hugging Naruto even deeper as if he's some security blanket. Akeno smiles at this. She then turns to Tsubaki. Thank you for your help, says the smiling shrine maiden. The vice president returns the smile. It's no problem, I'm glad to help, Akeno, says Tsubaki. The black-haired then turns to the knocked-out Naruto. She honestly surprised at how well he was able to fend himself. It seemed like he has some skill in using his sacred gear, unlike Issei, who has yet to learn to use his boost gear. She then senses a spirit coming from Naruto, not just any spirit but legendary Gorgon sister Medusa. So, he's an ancestor of Medusa. Rias sure lucked out, and he's cute too, thought Tsubaki. If that is all, I'll be taking my leave. I'm sure Sona-sama would like to hear what happened, says Tsubaki. Akeno nods her head and watches as Tsubaki teleports away. Akeno, she turns to the others and notices that Asia had fell asleep. She then teleports herself and others back to the occult research club. The next day, Naruto groans as he tries to rise from his bed but notices he's unable to move either of his arm. What the? Why can't I move my arms? How did I get back in my room? Thought Naruto. He then blushes a deep red as he feels something soft pressed against both arms. It didn't take a genius to guess was a pair of breasts. He then blushes harder as he feels the mysterious woman snuggle against him, enveloping his arm between her large breast. His face then matches his hair. Suddenly the woman who's snuggling his right arm pops her head from the covers, revealing herself to be none other than his king Rias Gremory, who happens to be smiling at him. What are you doing here? Stuttered a nervous Naruto. You hurt, Naruto-san, so I took you back here to heal you. Asia had healed you before you blacked out, but I want to properly heal, says Rias, enjoying how tongue-tied her fellow redhead is. She also thought he was pretty cute, blushing like this. And you're naked, BB, because? Stuttered the tattooed teen. She smiles at him with a hint of mischievous. Simple, I prefer to sleep in nude, says Rias, causing Naruto to have a sweat drop on his head. The only thing that ran through his head was that this beautiful woman would be the death of him. She then gains a sly smile. Besides, you're the only one who I would allow to be naked as you, my cute pawn, teased Rias, causing him to be blushing and stuttering. Mess. Era. How bold of you, bucko. I wonder what the other knights say, wondered Akeno, rising from the covers, giving Naruto a seductive smile. Akeno, what are you doing here? Asked Naruto. Rias pouts at Akeno. I just wanted to get to know our new cute pawn. Seeing how protective you were over that nun made me envious, says Akeno, running her finger across his birthmark. This action had caused him to peer. Akeno then smiles at this. How lucky are we to have a little cat and fox. I can't wait to tease you, Naru-kun, said Akeno, blowing on his ear. Not be able to handle two beautiful naked women, he passes out. Rias pouts at her. Oh, don't pout, bucko. Perhaps you are jealous, he is quite handsome, smiled Akeno. Rias glares at her in jealously. We are devils, are we not? Teased Akeno as she rubs his cheek. She then snuggles against him, causing Rias to be annoyed at her friend. She too snuggles against him. Rias then smiles to him. He sure is warm. I really hope you can help me, Naruto-kun, but I think I can get used to this, thought Rias, closing her eyes and dreaming a world where she longer having to worry about a certain sexist bird. As the three woke up again, Naruto blushes as both girls rises from the bed, giving him a view of their large breast. When did my life start becoming an ecchi anime? Thought Naruto. He quickly turned away, not wanting to seem like he was some type of pervert. Akeno smiles at him. She helps Rias out on her bra. You know I doubt mind you looking Naru-kun. Teased Akeno. If he was any other boy like a certain Issei, he would most likely do from a blood lost, but he wasn't. But this also makes teasing him much more fun for the beautiful shrine maiden. It would be improper to look at you too, says a blushing Naruto who's facing the wall. While neither Rias and Akeno didn't seem to mind, he just couldn't look. His mom did teach well and he wasn't a pervert like Issei, plus thinking of Issei had also made remember his scumbag of a dead godfather. He truly did hate perverts. Cuckoo. Quite the gentleman, that's rare, smiles a blushing Akeno, placing her hand on her cheek. This action caused her breast to bounce in place. Akeno had to be honest, she was surprised at how much willpower he had not to look at her and Rias. Any other boy would give their left arm just to peek at their nude body, but here Naruto, a boy at their school, is trying his best not to peek at the two beautiful women. I think I understand why Reiner and Kaneko fell for him, thought Akeno, who was used to the boys treating her and Rias like their celebrities, but there are times where she gets tired, everyone treating her like some rare species to be viewed far away, but Naruto is just treating her like a normal girl. Rias rolled her eyes at her friend. Besides being loving to tease others, she's also one of the biggest sadists. Rias sighs at her queen. Stop teasing him, Akeno, says Rias, even though she does find his flush face quite cute. Era, fine bucko, I'll stop for now, that is. Giggled Akeno. Rias in response rolled her eyes at Akeno, but she knew this was the best response she'll get from her. But just as she helped Rias out on her bra, so did she glances at Naruto and sees his body fully turned around. Well, Akeno wasn't lying, he is quite the gentleman, thought Rias. She honestly didn't know if she would do if he was anything like the certain immortal bird, but if he was anything like that bastard she would have never then him. But fortunately he wasn't like most teens and having no control over his libido. What about Asia? Is she safe? Asked the concerned Naruto. He would turn to them, but he can still hear the two dressing, so he kept facing away. He then gains a saddened look, remembering the dead bodies surrounding him and the fearful look on Asia's face as she saw the exorcist kill the innocent people without a care. Yeah, she's okay, but she's shaken up, which is normal. I have her and Reiner staying at my apartment, says Rias. With both females fully dressed, they turn to the male redhead Akeno, then looks around his room and sees a picture of a young Naruto with his father. She then stares at the photo of his father and quickly notices he took after his father in the looks department while he had inherited his hair from his mother. She noticed Rias never mentioned about Naruto's father, which made her curious about his father. He smiles at this. That's good to hear, I was worried about her. She's a good person, Yano. Someone as nice and kind as her shouldn't be exposed to such awful things. She should be happy enjoying life and having friends. I just can't live with himself knowing there's someone as kind as her is suffering because of some overgrown crow wants her power, and I won't allow them to hurt someone who needs help. Dabbeo, says Naruto with a tone with conviction. He may have just met Asia, but he still considered her precious. Both Rias and Akeno blush at the conviction and confidence in his voice. It wasn't just him talking out of his ass, but he actually meant it. To the young girls his declaration reminded them of one of those shonen anime heroes. Well, you'll get your luck because after school we'll be training, and don't worry about Asia, she's in the care of Reiner, says a smiling Rias. Naruto lets out a breath of relief. He didn't know he was holding Era, a gentleman and a knight, quite outstanding man, don't you say, bucko? Says a smiling Akeno, shooting Naruto a flirtatious look causing him to blush nervously. She then walks to him, pressing her breast against his own. She then blushes at Naruto. As your senior, it is my job to show you the ropes. I promise not to hurt you too bad. If you do get hurt, I promise to treat you properly, says Akeno with a heavy blush. Naruto just stares at her, confused, not quite sure why she is blushing so hard. It almost seemed like she wanted to see him hurt, but that's crazy. Sometime later, Rias and her peerage were in the woods, each of them wearing workout clothes. Today we'll be focusing on the basics such as flying, says Rias. Her wings come out, each of them do the face. She floats off the ground. Naruto tries to do the same but finds himself struggling, not used to flying well. It's a start, comments Rias. You can do it, Naru-kun, exclaimed Reiner. I believe in you, Naruto-kun, screamed a blushing Asia. Kaneko released a low hiss. Why are you here? Asked Kaneko, glaring at Reiner. Reiner smirks at Kaneko. What's wrong, jealous? I'm just here to cheer on Naru-kun, grins Reiner. Tisk. Whatever, utters growled Kaneko in a low tone. A giant tick mark appeared on her head. She then gains a victorious grin on her beautiful face. She then begins to snicker at the petite first-year devil Kukuku. Is Whittle Nako jealous? All she has is those washboard? Teased Rainier as she puffed out her chest, making her abnormally large breast to bounce in place. Kaneko glares at the raven-haired beauty. To add injury to salt, she even playfully massages her breast. Kiba turns his head from the side, no doubt not used to seeing someone act in such a manner. Asia covers her eyes from the scene and blushing up a storm. And of course Naruto turned his head to stare at the scene and quickly turns his head to the side. His face was a good shade of red. Both Rias and Akeno simply giggle or smile at this scene. Era. Seems like those two are getting along just fine, said Akeno. Rias laughs at this. Yeah, that's a way at looking at it, said Rias. She then turns to Naruto and sees on his flying, which causes her smile. She then begins to think about Sona and wondering how she's doing and how she's handling her own new devil. She also felt envious for her friend while she was able to get out of her forced marriage by challenging him to a chess game and outsmarting him. Unfortunately, she doesn't share the same level of intelligence as the citier heiress. She should really talk to Sona about her own engagement. Maybe Sona could give her some insight or some help. She trusted her peerage with all her heart, but she was unsure if they could defeat Riser even with the newly added Rainier and Naruto. She hoped by the time the deadline her peerage will be ready for the bastard. But she knew she can't just sit around hoping for Riser to drop. The engagement of her family wasn't forcing her into this, but the only way to stop this is if she does it herself. Rias smiles at Naruto, glad that he's beginning to get the hang of flying. Naruto, you can come down now, says Rias, smiling at her fellow redhead. She also knew Naruto wasn't like the rest of the perverted boys at school, so she had tread around him differently. Naruto nods his head and flies down to the ground. Akeno smiles warmly at Naruto, which would causes both male and female population to have sexual meltdown. Era. Congratulations Naruto-kun, you have the hang of flying, I see, states Akeno, smiling at the blonde, fluttering her eyes at him, making him blush. She giggles at this. Akeno turns to her master with a blushing smile on her face. Rias knew this smile. It was the same smile she used when she was about to inflict pain on the poor soul. What is it? Asked Rias with an amused look. The Miko beauty giggles into her hand. I was just wondering. What if you teach Rainier her devil duties, and I can teach Naruto-kun about magic? Asked Akeno with a smile. For some reason both Kaneko and Rainier glare at Akeno, and for some reason Naruto suddenly felt like he was one of those ecchi anime, but that couldn't be right. He's hardly known Kaneko and Rainier, and he just met the other girls. There was no way they were gonna fight over for his attention. That just happened in those anime, the perverted trio like. Rias hums to herself in thought. Yano, there's not just a bad idea, said Rias. She had to admit having two fallen angels on her peerage is going to be an advantage, especially with the fact she knows why the fallen angels are here in Kuo. Rainier stares at Akeno with a death glare. Akeno just giggles at the jealous female. Come on Rainier, I'll explain to you about your devil duties and the abilities you gain from your rook piece, said Rias behind her as grumbling Rainier, muttering about cheaters. So what kind of magic will I be learning? Asked a curious Naruto. The Uzumaki begins to wonder if he could produce powerful wind, or maybe create mountains, or maybe he could do that cool fire move Hiei does in that old anime. Akeno giggles at his excitement. Well, I use lightning magic. It's a form of offense and defense. Being able to invoke lightning by either charging electricity from the hands and attack from a long distance, or conjuring thunderclouds above a target where the lightning will strike. The lightning attacks work by electrocuting the opponents to various degrees, from completely paralyzing enemies to utter disintegration due to the extremely high voltage of the electricity employed in their use. The lightning strike is strong enough to obliterate a whole building, said Akeno. Hearing this shocked the blonde. He also didn't quit like the smile on Akeno's face as the lightning dance around her fingertips. Demonic power requires the power of using your imagination and the power to create, as well as having a good sense, explained Akeno. Naruto nods his head in understanding. She then pressed her hand against her cheek. Kukuku, if you want I can help you with lightning magic, says Akeno with her cheeks turning a bright pink. Naruto nervously shook his head negatively. His head. She giggles at his nervousness. Nah, I'll be fine, you don't have to do that, stuttered Naruto, not used to this type of attention. Asia squeals loudly as she watches Akeno pets Naruto on his cheek. She then covers her face with her hands as a purr came out from the redhead's mouth. She had to admit she didn't think such a handsome man could suddenly switch to handsome male to cute fox. Akeno giggles at this. Era. Did I find a weakness? Teased Akeno, licking her lips in seductive manner. A cold chill runs down his back. He then cautiously looks at her with a disbelieving look. Akeno-san, are you a sadistic? Asked a nervous Naruto as he slowly steps away from her and stares into her beautiful purple eyes. Akeno beams at him brightly. Why yes I am. Fufufu, does it bother you? Asked the woman in a teasing manner. No, as long as you don't try to push it on me I'm fine. At least your sadistic interest is way better than Ria's sleeping nude habits. I swear I thought I was going to have a heart attack, said Naruto in a low tone. It especially wouldn't do good if his mom caught him in that situation. He knew just how scary his mom can be. A faint blush appeared on her cheeks, not the blush she would get from punishing the poor soul, but an actual blush. The fact the boy preferred her sadistic side over seeing a nude Rias had definitely affected her. The Miko priestess was sure her heart even skipped a few beats. Oh yeah, how Tsubaki, I haven't seen her in a while since that night? Asked a concerned Naruto. He was actually worried about the other raven-haired woman. Akeno quickly shooed off the butterflies she was feeling in her stomach and smiles at him. Tsubaki is doing good, she's just busy with her duties as a devil and vice president of the school, said Akeno. She watches as Naruto blinks in confusing, then he rubs the back of his head and muttering to himself, for being an idiot. Of course there's other devils here besides Rias and her peerage, muttered Naruto in a low tone. The others snickered at the blonde. Ready to start your magic training? Asked Akeno. Naruto nods his head in agreement. Has them closed his mind. He focuses on the demonic power dwelling inside of him, which took a while since this is his first time. But after a few moments he feels a power inside himself, the power to create in my own imagination. Thought the male he could try to imagine him doing magic from an anime or movie, but using demonic magic requires him to be original, so he has to be original and creative. His body is then covered demonic energy. Asia along with the other devils stare in awe as 5 Naruto appear. There's 5 Naruto-kuns, exclaimed Asia in shock, never seeing such thing. Duplicate magic, said Kiba with interest. Kaneko then begins to poke each duplicate, realizing that the clones aren't an illusion but solid clones. Duplicate magic, repeated Naruto. Kiba nods his head and smiles in a friendly manner, no doubt happy to help the newly recruited devil. Yes. Duplication magic allows the user to create duplicates of themselves and others to confuse enemies and attack in numbers in order to overwhelm the enemy through sheer numerical advantage. The concept is pretty simple, but it can be quite the powerful magic if used right, said Kiba. Asia then runs over to Naruto and smiles brightly at the Uzumaki. That's amazing, Naruto-kun. I've never seen anything like it before, exclaimed Asia with a 100-watt smile. Naruto blushes at the praise. Kaneko gives him a thumbs up. That's pretty cool, Naruto-kun, says Kaneko. Naruto runs the back of his head nervously. I don't think it's that amazing, said a bashful Naruto. Oh, but it is amazing, Naruto-kun, especially for a newly turned devil. Usually it takes time for a reincarnated devil to develop their own magic. So you should feel proud for yourself, encouraged Akeno. Naruto smiles at her and nods his head. Each of his clones then vanished away. Akeno then gains a devilish idea. She leans towards Naruto and places a kiss on his cheek, causing Naruto to sputter in shock. Is that for? Asked the stuttering Naruto. Kaneko looks at the scene with a pout, muttering something about cow tits. Akeno simply runs her hand over his whiskered face and bat her eyelashes at him. She laughs inwardly at the blushing mess of Naruto. While he may not be a pervert like the rest of the populace at Kuo Academy, but teasing him sure is fun. She shrugged her shoulders in a nonchalant manner. It's just congratulations for your hard working. If you keep this up I'll give another award, said Akeno in a low tone, with a sultry tone blowing her warm breath on his neck, causing the redhead to shiver. She then nibbled on his earlobe. She steps away with a charming smile, feeling a sense of overload. The blonde faints with his face an atomic red blush. The last thing he remembered was Akeno kissing cheek and promising to give him another reward. The mere concept, getting another kiss or something a little more mature, had sent out favorite whiskered into the world of unconsciousness. Naruto was sure the ground didn't feel this warm or soft, but as soon as those thoughts went through his head his eyes shot open, and to his shock the first thing he saw in his view was large, not just any put, they belonged to Rainier, who was just keeping herself busy by running her hand through his hair. Rainier. What's going on? Where am I? Asked Naruto with rapid speed. He then gains a strange feeling as if he is being watched. He turned his head and sees Akeno with a lump in the head and staring at him with her usual look. You fainted because of Himejima, says Rainier, pointing at her fellow busty devil. And Akeno, being the ultimate sadistic with no shame, she didn't look affected by the punishment she received from Rias. If anything, she looked like she enjoyed the punishment she received. Rainier just shook her head at Akeno. Damn that sadistic bitch, muttered Reiner glaring at Akeno who just smiles back. She then glances down at Naruto and smiles warmly at him and pats his cheek and infertility rubs his cheeks and just like before he lets out a purr his face is suddenly buried into her. Reiner lets out a loud squeal. Cute! Exclaimed Reiner nuzzling his head into her. Kaneko looks on at the scene with pink cheeks. Naruto-senpai has a cute side, says Kaneko. She then chomps onto a cookie. Asia looks at the two with her cheeks red. You're like those cute foxes, said Asia. She decides to distract herself by drinking down the tea. Rias smiles at the scene. A smirk is then placed on her face. Having fun there, Naruto-kun? Teased Rias. Naruto quickly pulls away. It isn't like that, yelled Naruto with his face now matching his hair. She had admit he did like cute when he's all flustered and embarrassed. Akeno told me you've done duplicate magic? Asked Rias with a smile. She had to admit teasing him was pretty fun. Naruto nods his head. He decides to show off by concentrating his demonic energy and 5 other clones appeared and one of them decides to prove just how durable it is when takes a bite out of the cookies that were set out. Rias smiles at this. That's impressive. This could give you an advantage over your enemy, said Rias. This causes him to smile back at her. She can definitely knew with Naruto on her side the chances of beating Riser was slightly to her side. The next day, Naruto had just finished his breakfast. He hears a knock at the door and wonders if it is Kaneko or Reiner. Plus he knew it would be better if he answered the door and not his overprotective mother. While she hadn't went full bear mom on Kaneko, he rather she not go all mama bear on Rias or Akeno. As he opened the door he was expecting to see someone from peerage, not the vice president of the student council. The blonde blinks at the woman with a look of confusion. Tsubaki-san, is something wrong or did Sona send you here? Asked Naruto. He said the last part in a low tone. Tsubaki smiles warmly at the Uzumaki team. It's good to see you are well informed, Naruto-kun. And no, Sona-sama didn't send me here. I came on my own accord. How are you doing? How are you handling your duties? Asked a concerned Tsubaki. Yeah, I'm doing good, better than being a kebab, said Naruto the blonde with a soft chuckle. His chuckle then stopped once he realized Tsubaki's face has a red hue. He leans into personal space causing the blush. He then placed his hand on her forehead. You don't seem to have a fever, said Naruto. He steps back realizing he probably weighed too close. Tsubaki smiles bashful. I'm alright thank you, said Tsubaki with a small smile. Naruto, shouldn't you be heading? Who are you? Questioned Kushina looking at Tsubaki with suspicion. Tsubaki bows in respect to the mother of Naruto. Good morning, Miss Uzumaki. My name's Tsubaki Shinra. I'm the vice president of the student council. I was talking to Naruto about seeing if he wants to join the student council, said Tsubaki, which was a total lie. She had to admit his mother was quite beautiful. She even had the same long crimson hair like Rias. She definitely tell where exactly did he get his looks from. Kushina was taken by surprise at the politeness Tsubaki had. The other black-haired girl didn't seem to be as polite as this one. Kushina sighs at how all the females seem to flock towards her son, especially the big-breasted females. Well, you better be off, don't want to be late, said Kushina. Tsubaki smiles at this, bows at Kushina. The Uzumaki mother does the same thing. She then closes the door. Naruto sighs in relief, happy his mother didn't go overboard. He hoped his mother would start to mellow down was once she gets uses to all the other females. As the two get on his bike, Naruto glances over his shoulder with an apologetic look. Sorry about invading your personal space back there, says Naruto. The male Uzumaki jumps as he feels her pressing against his back. I don't mind, says Tsubaki with pink cheeks. The only thing the redhead was trying to figure out, when did his life become one of those dating sim games? Are there any other devil families here besides Rias and Sona? Asked Naruto. No, Kuo is under the protection of Gremory and Sidir protection. If another devil house or one of the other factions come to Kuo, they just tell Rias or Sona their reasoning, explains Tsubaki. Even with the shaky alliance these things are required. If not, then it is possible another war can break out. Sounds like a lot of politics. I take it there are some who prefer war? Asked Naruto. He had no idea that the amount of things that both Rias and Sona do. Yes, even though all 3 factions has suffered greatly, there are still those who wish for war, said Tsubaki. Even though the Angel faction doesn't want to start war, they still wouldn't hesitate to engage in war. Naruto lets out a groan, causing Tsubaki to raise an eyebrow at him. War 1, hate war. There's no winners in war, everyone loses. Both sides suffer. The only one who does win is war itself. Humans, angels, fallen angels, and devils, there's no real difference. We all have dreams, fears, ambitions, and goals her we fight over the smallest things. Look at humans for example ever since the evolution of man they have been killing each other and even now humans are so destructive they have engineered their own doomsday with the creation of the nuclear bomb and hydrogen bomb. As long as we continue to fight among each other death will soon follow. Says Naruto he never did like war since all wars are always caused by some pity thing. Tsubaki stares at his back with amazement then last time she heard everyone speak so passionate about finding peace and change as when Sona told her about her dream to create a raiding game school for all devils. She then leans her head against his back enjoying the warmth that came from his body while the ride to school was peaceful and quiet. Naruto's face was still as red as a tomato. Even though he's devil his school life was still pretty much the same. He went to each class, even the perverted trio were the same even though but he usually ignored the three idiots. The only thing that seemed different he would eat alone in class and listen to the pillows but those plans seemed to change when Rias, Sona, Akeno, and Tsubaki came into his class shocking everyone including himself. He takes his headphones out. "What are you guys doing here?" asked Naruto while everyone else were muttering among themselves. "I don't believe it, it's the four beauties of Kuo," exclaimed a male. "Akeno-sama is so beautiful," exclaimed a female. Sona fixed her glasses. "We thought it would be good idea to have lunch together and from what I heard you were always alone," states Sona. The raven-haired beauty takes a seat and scoots it towards Naruto's desk. Each of the girls soon followed suit with Sona and Rias sitting next to Naruto while Akeno and Tsubaki are seated across from him. Everyone couldn't help but gawk at the five students. "I wish I was Naruto-sama," cried a male. "He's so awesome," exclaimed a female. Naruto sighs mentally full well knowing not only was peaceful lunch came to an end but there's gonna be annoying rumors. Then again there were rumors already that he had a thing for Kaneko and Akeno. But Naruto usually ignored these gossips. Headphones do help in that market. The blonde takes out his lunch which happened to be some homemade pork ramen. Each of the girls stare at him. "Is that homemade ramen?" asked Akeno. Naruto takes a bite out of the noodle. He then shrugged his shoulders. "My mom made it for me. I prefer real ramen, tastes better," said Naruto. Rias takes out her bento box and grabs a piece of sausage octopus. Naruto raised an eyebrow at her. She just smiles at him. "Come on, give it a try?" asked Rias with a pleading look as he raised the food to his lips. The Uzumaki then opens his mouth and with a bright smile she feeds her fellow redhead causing a loud screams and cheers. Sona looks on with her eyes narrowed. She then grabs a piece of steak meat and waves the food out to Naruto who takes a bite out of the meat. "How was it?" asked Sona. She turned towards Rias and pouts at her childhood friend Sona in response. "Just have her a peace sign." The two females turned away from each other. Both heirs of their respected clans stares at the red-haired Uzumaki. Naruto's eyes turned into stars as he tasted the delicious meat which he can tell was seasoned well, which was good. He didn't like his food to have too much or too little seasoned. "It was good, thank you Sona-san. I never knew you were good in the kitchen," said Naruto with bright smile. Sona's cheeks turned pink at the compliment. Rias's cheeks puffed out in jealousy. "How was mine?" asked Rias, not wanting Sona to get one over her. While they were childhood friends they were also rivals in many aspects. "It was good too. I had no idea you guys would be so good at cooking," said Naruto after finding out the two belonged to not one but two powerful devil clans. He thought the two had maids at their respected homes. "Well, of course we have as both heirs to the Gremory and Sidir clan. It is expected of us to be able to be responsible of our own peerage but also to be responsible for our own well-being. To be responsible of others first you must be able to take of oneself," said Sona. "Plus at least own her own. She doesn't have to deal with her sister." Naruto glances at both females in amazement. He never knew just how much responsibility the two held. He wondered how much the two went through. He knows neither actually talked about their own families. He suspected the reason was personal manner. Suddenly he felt personal space was invaded by Akeno and Tsubaki who each held out a piece of food. Akeno was holding out a piece of fried pork chop and Tsubaki held out a piece of salmon. The blonde takes a bite out of both and hums at the delicious texture. "That was so good. I think those were as good as the found my mother makes," says the blonde. Akeno shoots Rias a grin as if telling her king she owns. Tsubaki simply smiles at her own king at which she received a glare but had zero malice. "I also wanted to talk to you about something," said Rias. This causes Naruto to look at her with a curious look in his eyes. He noticed the serious look in her eyes and realized it must be devil business. "It's about the bird infestation," said Rias. This caught his attention. His eyes suddenly flashed between his normal blue to green, then they stayed on his blue orbs. Sona takes 2 from her tea. Both Rias and I have talked and we believed in 3 days would be the right time to handle the bird infestation, said Sona. They then turned to Akano, who, chuckling to herself, no doubt the sadistic, was daydreaming torturing the fallen angels. The people who have known her for years just rolled their eyes at Akano. In the remaining 3 days we will be teaching you about snakes, said Rias. Naruto nods his understanding. She means his sacred gear. This would give him time to train his devil powers and his sacred gear. But what about Asia? Asked Naruto. He knew the fallen angels had mostly realized by now that Reiner has obviously betrayed them and taken their main target, which means they'll be searching for the 2. He wasn't too worried for Reiner. He knew she could take care of herself. Unfortunately, the name can't be said about Asia. Sona grabs hold of Naruto's in a soothing manner. She smiles at him. Don't worry, Naruto-san, we have already thought off that there's a safe house that we can keep Asia and possibility Reiner. This safe house would be protected by myself and some of my peerage, said Sona. Naruto then nods head. He knew they could be trusted. Plus, it wasn't like the fallen angels hadn't figured out Gremory and Sidier are working together in this effort. In most situations Sona would allow her best friend handle things on her own, but Sona believed it would better for them if they decided to work together. Hi, I trust you. Asia is just so naive. She would probably trust some random stranger thinking he's some kind man, muttered the redhead. They couldn't fault him for thinking that Asia is a very naive girl who isn't aware of how the real world works. Just gets so the idea of her trusting a complete stranger isn't that too far-fetched. Akano snickers at this while Rias sighs, knowing Naruto wasn't kidding about Asia. I really wish that was a joke, mumbled Rias in a low tone. Even Sona found this amusing. Well, I suppose it's good thing she hadn't run into some like that Issei boy, said Rias. While she had no problem with the boy, his perverted acts along with what Sona told her of the perverted boy reminded her too much of Riser. She honestly happy that he wasn't a member of her peerage. She honestly couldn't see him getting along with either Naruto, Kaneko, and Kiba. But that was due to Naruto and Kaneko's hatred for perverts. She knew Kiba wouldn't have a problem with the brunette. Issei would just be jealous of how popular the blonde is. Suddenly sense of coldness was coming off of Naruto. Each of the females turned and noticed his hair is covering his eyes. If that bastard even tried anything with Asia, I'm going to break every bone in that pervert's body until his bones are nothing but dust, said Naruto. Era, can I watch? Asked the blushing Akano with her cheeks a bright red. Rias simply sighed at her best friend. She wasn't sure which outcome for Issei seemed worse, Naruto literally breaking every bone in Issei's body or the sadistic Akano torturing him, her famed lightning magic. But then an idea came to her mind. Naruto and Akano both torturing Issei. She just hoped for Issei's sake he doesn't piss Naruto off. Sona coughed in her hand, drawing the attention from Uzumaki and the sadistic. That won't be necessary. He does step out of line. I'll be the one to punish him. Thank you for the offer, Akano, but I don't need him reduced to a vegetable, states Sona. She did punished him when she caught him peeping at Tsubaki's when she told him about his devil duties. Akano pouts at this remark. Her pupils then shift into stars. Can I watch? Asked Akano with a hopeful tone. Sona stares at Akano with a blank look on her face. No, said Sona in a flat twos and mumbling about unfairness. She then turns towards the male Uzumaki, who was helping himself to the delicious ramen. After we deal with the bird infestation, both myself and Rias has agreed after we deal with them Reiner, Middled, and Asia will be joining Kuo Academy, states Sona. Even though neither of the females belonged to the devil faction, they each deserved a proper education. Is Reiner going to go by her name or Yoma? Asked Naruto. The bell for the end of the lunch then rang. The 4 beautiful devils rise from their seat. Sona face Naruto a smile. Thank you for lunch, spending lunch with us, Naruto-kun. I would love to discuss more with you. Unfortunately, I am needed somewhere else, says the blushing Sona as Naruto smiles back at her. Rias gains a Cheshire grin. She looks amused as she stares at her rival. Were you asking Naruto on a date? That is like a date, doesn't, Akano? Asked Rias with a sly look on her face. Akano giggles into her hand. Cuckoo, who would have guessed the serious and pristine Sona would ask Kuo's lone wolf. I never knew you had it in you. I wonder what will Serafal have to say? Joked the teasing Himejima. Both busty teens watch as Sona's face went from light pink to a nuclear red. Steam was coming from her body. Even her pupils changed from their normal looking to comically swirls. At the mention of going on a date with the tattooed teen had embarrassed and made her feel giddy, but with the mention of her sister had overloaded her with embarrassment. Even with her face as red as a nuclear bomb, she glares at her best friend. If you plan to tell my sister, then I will inform your brother you have a boyfriend, teased Sona. Seeing as Rias was playing dirty, it seemed only right if she does too. Ria's face soon matches her hair. She then thinks of several instances where her brother Searsexkid and I will embarrass her. She glances at the confused Naruto and quickly blushes. Her eyes then met Sona's to another else. It was like two powerful creatures staring at each other, one waiting for the other to make the first move. As the two heiresses stare at each, an unsaid rivalry between the two had started. Rias puffed her cheeks at Sona in a childish manner. She then grins at Sona. She then turned towards Tsubaki, who simply raised an eyebrow at the redhead. She finally turned towards Naruto and smiles at him. She then leans towards his face and kissed him on the cheek, shocking him and everyone. Sona, feeling nervous, glares at Rias and kissed him on his other cheek. Both soon left, leaving Naruto's brain scramble. The end. I hope you liked this. Thank you for watching.